Hello guys, welcome to Shake the Mic. Welcome to Shake the Mic. Today I'm joined by mind coach Kevin Deves, also known as the Mind Shaman. Kev, thanks very much for taking the time out.
No, pleasure mate, pleasure.
Appreciate it. The human being is very, very complex.
Yes.
Extremely difficult to understand.
Yeah.
As our capabilities are somewhat infinite and our abilities are endless.
Yeah.
It's my understanding that on a daily basis, you've made it your mission to assess, try to understand, help, and even heal a mind.
Yes. Yeah. Mainly my own. Yeah, my main aim has always been, from the beginning, is understand my own mind, understand myself, discover who I truly am. But obviously, as a byproduct, I get to work with a lot of other people to help them.
Is your job rewarding, Kev?
Oh, very rewarding, yeah. It's lovely seeing people walk out with a smile on their face and a clear mind.
Who is Kevin Deves?
I'm still searching, mate. Still searching. But, it's... there's more about us that is unconscious, that we're not aware of, that we can't see, than there is what we can see. And often what we can see and what we do know about ourselves, we don't even know a lot of the time if it's actually true. We don't know if we are living someone else's idea what reality is. So it's... we've got two main parts of the mind. We've got the conscious part of the mind, which is everything we're aware of. But then we got the unconscious, which is everything about ourselves we're not aware of. The unconscious, by definition, is infinite. So even as we bring more of this part into our awareness, it's still never going to be finished. It becomes a lifetime thing.
There's too much, isn't there?
There's too much. Like I say, it's infinite by definition.
I seen a video that you put up on one of your socials, I think it was a couple of days ago. And it was a guy saying, human nature is insane, and the human being, the man, there's so much that we don't know about man.
Yes.
And man is the most dangerous thing on this planet.
By far. So that was Carl Jung. So Carl Jung's a Swiss psychiatrist. I'm a massive fan of his because I believe that the branch of psychology that he's created is really good for people in the West to develop self-awareness. But I believe, like he said on that video, we need more psychology. I believe that individual people need to understand more about themselves, because if you don't know yourself, then someone else will tell you who you are, and then the culture itself, the cultural patterns, you're seeing the way the group behaviours, the destruction that group behaviours can cause, even just over recent years, and you know what I'm talking about. Groupthink is one of the most dangerous things we can imagine. We're told to be scared of natural disasters, which, fair enough, yeah, we should be scared of natural disasters, and, but I think humans are the most dangerous thing by far, because we don't understand ourselves.
Do you think we're less developed here in the West in terms of our minds, getting in touch with our inner souls?
I think it's different. The psychology is different. So the foundation of our mind is actually built upon Judeo-Christian tradition. So that's the foundation of our psyche. And so we're always building on top of that. And we don't understand the nature of religions. We don't understand the nature of spirituality. We don't understand barely anything about reality. So this is why we need more self-study. But obviously we're always distracted by, the latest box set or, the latest trend. But I think self-knowledge, for myself, since I started looking at myself, I think it's important for us to get to know ourselves, but to a really, really unbelievably deep level.
This is the thing, as you've just said, so many people are interested in, going to work, what car they're driving, what's going on the weekend, what they're watching on the telly in the night time, the day-to-day lives. And here where we live, this part of the world, people's lives are hectic, man. They're busy. People are constantly busy. No one's got time. I'll correct myself there. People are choosing to spend the time differently.
Yeah.
And instead of sort of soul searching and looking inwards, a lot of people are looking outwards.
Yes.
Do you think that that's a big problem in society, or not necessarily a problem, Kev, but do you think that's one of the main reasons why we're not as aware of who we are? Because a lot of people are searching outwards
Yes.
instead of inwards.
Yeah. So as far as I'm concerned, the outside world doesn't exist. It's a projected illusion. You know, so everything we're sort of operating within are patterns. And these patterns have been present for, well, since humans became humans. And these patterns repeat. So even though it looks like, you know, these are different situations unfolding, at the end of the day, it's the same psychological patterns that are just repeating over time.
I feel myself personally as well. Just now, just as you're talking to me, as I'm reflecting upon myself,
Yeah.
a lot of times I have searched outward for stuff. So if I've been feeling like I've been missing something in my life, I might have tried to go and do a bit of retail therapy, think about getting something else, monetary gain, you know, trying to build maybe my business, or go and buy a new pair of shoes, or maybe I could, you know, something new, instead of saying, and you can keep getting these things, but it doesn't change how you feel inside, does it?
It doesn't fill the hole. It doesn't scratch the itch.
Doesn't?
No. We always think it's going to, though.
How can we scratch the itch, Kev?
I think by doing things in life that light our soul up, you know. So I believe that everyone has got a path, and I believe a lot of us aren't following that path. But I don't think the path's outside. I think the path is all to unfold from within. So the more self-knowledge, the more we get to sit with ourselves, I think the more we discover about what's actually already in there. So I don't think we don't choose what we're interested in. What we're interested in chooses us. So, you know, that's why if you find something that you fall in love with, you're able to pay attention to it. But if it's something you're not interested in, you struggle to pay attention. Yeah. But some things just pull you in, don't they? And some things you're driven from a different place to do certain things. So we had a little chat earlier, and you talk about, you know, you've got into boxing yourself, and you're like, there's something inside that's pushing you to do it. And sometimes even when you don't feel like doing it, this part inside's like insisting that you go and do it. Which means that you have to.
Music's another one for me.
Yeah.
Like, I've always loved me music.
Yeah.
And I believe, like, I always say this to me missus, some people hear music and some people feel it.
Yes.
And I feel it.
Yeah. It's a frequency.
Yeah. And when I'm on that, man,
yes,
I feel great. And I know that's a part of me.
Yeah.
Like, I should be there.
Yeah.
Like, I play guitar, and when like I'm playing music, I feel very much at home.
Yes.
Like, it's like this, I should be doing this.
It's a creative act as well.
Yeah.
So what you're doing is you're taking something that's coming up from your unconscious and you're putting it into a structure.
I feel I can express myself there a bit as well.
Yeah.
And I've always been shit at art in terms of like drawing.
Yeah.
And I wanted to be good. Like at school and shit like that. I'd look at, you know, that picture on the wall when you go in class and they say, yeah, these were all the kids who come last year. They're all the pictures there on the wall. I think mine's going on the wall this year.
Yeah.
Never fucking would, lad. Be a complete mess. And I couldn't express myself like that in the way I wanted to.
Yeah.
But with music, I can.
Yeah. So that's your expression. That's the way you share art with the world. Yeah. You know, so we've all got our own different ways that we can share this, like in a, you know, knowing in a gift. So that's obviously your way to express it, and you can feel that in the way that it feels when you're actually doing it. You know. Definitely,
yeah. Do you spend a lot of time with yourself?
Yeah, I do. I do now. Now that I learned about a lot of these techniques.
Do you spend more time with yourself than you do with other people?
No, do you know what? I have a good balance of it, you know. I have a good balance of it because I understand that we need each other as well as time to ourselves. So I spend a lot of time with family members. I've got a lot of good friends, a lot of really like special acquaintances. But I also know that I need to, every now and again, I need to go and make sure I'm taking that time to myself, because you got to find out where you end and other people begin. Because it's hard to get self-knowledge when we're around people all the time, because you're constantly being triggered by patterns within yourself that interact with other people. There's a lot of these patterns that interact with other people. We're not conscious of them, they're unconscious.
We're a product of the environment, aren't we?
Yes.
And who we surround ourselves with is
Yes.
very, very, very important.
It's very important.
The way you said there, you've got like good people around you.
Yeah.
You're blessed to have good people around you. And,
Yes.
and if you haven't got good people around you, you need to try and make it a priority that you put good people around you.
Yeah, you do.
Or be on your own. I prefer to be on my own than be with negative people.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, like, what's that saying? You become like, if you're surrounded by 5 positive people, you become the 6th.
5 millionaires, you'll become the 6th.
Yeah.
5 dickheads,
Yes.
you'll become the 6th.
It's true though, mate. It is true. It is true. Because it's obviously, you're trying to fit in with each other. So, you know, you do the same things that people you're surrounded by.
Tell us about yourself, Kev. Where did you grow up? What was your childhood like? What was you like in school? What was you like as a kid?
So I grew up in Netherton, which is, it's by Bootle.
Yeah.
And I went to Netherton Park Primary School and then to Bootle High. Well, I left Bootle High at around 13 because school wasn't really for me. So I went through you know, I'd say I put a lot of pressure on my mum to just let me not go. So in the end, that pressure won. So I was at home from the age of 13, but I was lucky enough that my mum used to bring me a lot of books in, because I've always had a love of reading from a young age.
You well read, yeah? Did you read a lot?
Yeah, but I was lucky. I had Orwell books in our house and stuff like that. So
I've just got a new book there. I only started it yesterday. Green Lights, Matthew McConaughey. And,
yes.
I'm looking forward to it. I like a read myself.
You just get pulled in. Get pulled in, don't you?
Yeah, reading's... I prefer to read than listen as well. Like, my missus isn't a very good reader. She's dyslexic, so she likes to have like the Audible.
Yeah.
But I don't like it. I don't even like, like the Kindle and that. I like a proper paperback book.
I like a book.
I want it older in my hand.
Yeah, I want to curl up on a couch and just absorbed into it. I'm the same. Yeah, it's nothing better. Nothing better.
I've made it my mission to finish this book because I'm a nightmare, right, for reading so much. Yeah. And then I start reading something else. Or I've had 2 on the go at once.
Yes.
And it's like, I'm guilty of not finishing that or never, you know what I mean? So I just want to start and finish this book.
Yeah.
And get all the info and then move on to my next one, because I feel like that could be a reflection of me, my character. I don't know whether that's me looking deep inside myself there, but like I think to myself, if you're not finishing that, is there other things you're not fully completing and you're moving on to something else? I'm racing.
I think it's the same as like Netflix. There's so much choice out there, you can't figure out what you want to go to next or stick on next.
Yeah,
you know
it's
what I mean?
difficult, isn't it?
Yeah.
Or sometimes you spend half an hour looking, go and watch what to watch. And you could have watched 2 episodes or something by the time you've chosen.
Yeah, we do that all the time.
Yeah, so as a kid, you didn't go to school.
Yeah.
Why?
I just didn't like it. I wasn't into it.
Social circles, what was you like as socialising as a kid? Was you an introvert? Did you have friends?
I was introverted, but I had to get groups of mates.
Did you?
That I used to go and hang around with,
Yeah.
But I was always interested in, like, if I could just spend 2-3 days reading a book, that was me.
Was it?
Yeah, that was heaven. It still is.
Is it?
Yeah.
What was your career path in your mind as a child? Did you have one?
I didn't really have one,
Did you ever think, when I get older, I'm going to be?
No, not even once, Not even once. I've been in all sorts of different jobs, all sorts of different, one of my first jobs was I became a chef, right? So I worked in some really good places in Liverpool. And that was a really good way to express myself, because it's obviously cooking can be very artistic. It's very, very, you can be very expressive. So when I worked in the Crown Plaza, I started there at the age of 17, and there's some really good quality chefs there. So I learned a lot, and I learned, it was very peaceful. And my favourite job used to actually be cutting up meat. So yeah. So they bring you get a strip loin in, and it's to strip it down, to remove all the fat, remove all the sinew, and then take a portion into steaks and chop and fillets up, and big fish as well, like tunas and marlins and stuff like that, and portion it all up. I used to enjoy doing that, but I can't do it anymore because I turned vegetarian when I started meditating.
Wow, did you? Yeah.
Yeah. So the thought of cutting a piece of meat up or a fish or something like that, I couldn't dream of it now, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Did you used to like a good steak and that?
Yeah. So get on this, right? As soon as I started meditating, 6 weeks later, 7 weeks later, I'd stopped enjoying the texture of meat. Stopped enjoying the taste of it. I couldn't do it.
Wow.
So then that was 2012 and I haven't touched it since. So it was like no outside influence at all. Because I'm not obviously what other people do is what other people do. But from the inside, it's...
So how long have you been vegetarian for now?
Since 2012.
For a while then?
Yeah.
It's not just being a flash in the pan.
No. And you know what, while I've been training and stuff like that, I've been thinking, it'd be beneficial if I could get back on meat, back on like steak, back on chicken. And every single time I've entertained it, I haven't been able to.
So,
yeah. It's just like I think about it and then it's like, no, you can't really do that.
Yeah, it's not for you. Do you feel like it's not going to serve you?
Yeah. Like I say, I've just got no age for it anymore. Like I used to love a fillet steak. Yeah, blue as well. You know what I mean? Blue with pepper sauce on. I used to squeeze the blood on my chips. And I love steak, and I was eating probably 3 meals a day. And then as soon as I started meditating, like I say, 6 weeks or so, something like that, I'm eating a steak and it's like, it tastes funny.
Yeah.
And then it was like, after a couple of weeks, I'm like, I can't eat that anymore. And then I came off everything else, the chicken and everything.
When did you become a scholar of the human mind?
I'd say when I started the meditation, right? So my meditation practice came about because in 2012, I was massive on the Charlie and on the ale. And I had... Sorry. It's okay.
Chefing's demanding. You said it was, it was very creative. A lot of chefs, are mad on drugs. And
they love it, mate. They love it. They love it,
because the hours are all mad on sociable hours, the long days and that, and you see a lot of chefs are like Charlie heads and whatever.
By the time it was 2012, I'd bailed that career ages ago. I'd done all sorts in between. So I probably bailed being a chef in like I'd say like me mid-20s, and then I got into...
How did you find your way into the drug scene?
Through crime myself. And we were taking drugs, me and my mates were taking drugs from like the age of 16, 17.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just going out partying on the weekends?
Yeah, just on the Charlie, on the speed, on the tablets, and you can get your hands on really. Yeah.
So that was just fucking part and parcel of what you were doing?
Yes.
When you said there, crime and stuff like that, what were you like as a teenager, Kev? What were you like growing up like? That era there, maturing into a man, was you up to no good? What were you doing?
No, I was up to no good. Like in between, like proper jobs, I was always involved in something. As long as it's survival, isn't it? It's always trying to make a few quid, isn't it?
Yeah, just trying to make a few extra quid here and there.
Yeah.
So when did the calling come to want to study yourself? Was it because you were fucked up on the Charlie?
Yeah. So at one point, I was taking the Charlie every day. I was drinking every day. Sometimes on a Friday, going through a grand's worth, maybe more. It just depends. Sometimes we had this lad, EB.
Where were you getting the money from? Just because you were up to no good?
Because I was up to no good myself, so there was always money about. But I always managed to take enough drugs, so I didn't really have that much money.
Yeah.
But obviously, I enjoyed some of the trappings, motorbikes and clothes and that sort of thing. But mainly, we sniffed most of it.
Yeah.
And then when I discovered the meditation, and this is another thing that happened as a byproduct of meditation, I realised morally I could no longer do that. I could no longer...
You can't sit there and meditate or try and spread the word of this is good when you're getting off your cake every 5 minutes.
So morally I could not sort of put people in my community. I couldn't contribute to that anymore myself.
Was there something inward that made you want to start to meditate? Like, because you were calling out for help, do you think, inside? Yeah,
so I didn't trust the official channels that you'd normally go down to get off drugs, like, going to a doctor or,
Did you know had you accepted at this point that you needed help, Kev?
Yes.
Yeah,
so then it was, I got advised a few times to try meditation. So what I've done is in 2012, I've got a binaural beats guided meditation on YouTube. And it was about maybe 30 minutes long. And I got emotions that I've never felt before. I got like these positive, lovely feelings in my body that I didn't even know existed. Yeah. Unbelievable levels of gratitude, unbelievable levels of self-love and self-acceptance. And I was like, so I knew then there was something in the meditation. There's something about being able to connect to ourselves. So I haven't got out that rabbit hole still, So I'm always trying to study. I'm always trying to learn things about the mind, about philosophy. I'm interested in religious traditions. I'm interested in all sorts of different philosophical traditions.
Would you say that was the catalyst? That was the light bulb moment? Would you say you sat down, meditated for the first time, and you went to yourself, fuck, this is good?
This is the key. I thought this is the key. This is the key to my freedom.
Did it free you?
It did free me.
Did you need other help along the way, Kev, or did you solve the issue from within, or no?
No. So from within, but it's been an accumulation of skills. So learning meditation, learning breath work, and then I went to learn. I got advised to go for a Reiki session by someone, and I turned up to my Reiki session not expecting anything. There was this old woman who was about to do Reiki on me, and I was really expecting nothing. But then after an hour, I skipped out of her room, skipped through town. It was like that film, It's a Wonderful Life. We just feel like screaming. Yeah, brilliant. Unbelievable feeling. So I booked in 2 weeks later to learn Reiki level 1. I begged her to let me learn Reiki level 2, and then I begged her again to learn the Reiki master level.
It was something that resonated within you.
Oh yeah, it really resonated.
Do you think you chose the path, or do you think the path was chosen for you?
I think once I've connected with myself, it's got me closer to what my path is. But I needed to get that connection. I need to connect with the inside and stop so much on the outside.
Do you believe in the spiritual world, Kev?
Do
you believe in higher frequencies than what we're on and stuff like that?
Yes.
Do you think things guide you, or
I believe
do you think you've got to connect to it?
I believe there's positive and negative forces in the universe, and I believe there's these are like forces of nature, and I believe we can connect to either.
A lot of people think I'm crazy. Well, not a lot of people, but some people, because I'm open-minded. Yeah. So like, I never used to be though.
Yeah.
I used to be very narrow-minded. Like if you would have told me, Jack, there's a higher frequency and we can get on it, or, there's something else, I'd be like, shut up, lad.
Same here.
Talking shit.
Same here.
You know what I mean? And I wouldn't entertain nothing like that. Like, I only believed what I seen.
Yeah.
But like, now, I do believe that there is other things that we just haven't experienced, or because we're cutting ourselves off from things. So it's like, I don't know, let me just pull something out, say, telekinesis. No, that's impossible. You can't do that. So you wouldn't try it. So if you wouldn't try it, how would you know?
You wouldn't.
And with practice, lots of practice, you can become more connected, you can become better at it. But as you said, there's a lot of things out there we can't see.
Yeah.
But so many people, I'd say a vast majority, just write it off because they go, you can't see it, so they can't connect with it.
Well, why have scientists been studying energy since the 1920s? Sorry. Mm-hmm. Why is there a quantum physics? And it's not just like it's just a couple of scientists. There's literally thousands who've been studying non-physical phenomena for over 100 years now.
Do you believe in the law of attraction?
I do. I believe that we create the reality, and I believe that I believe we're manifesting 100% of the time. And if you've got particular subconscious patterns that are running, you're going to attract a repetitive experience. If you want to create something new, you have to consciously create something new. And you have to repeat behaviours to then bring that new reality into existence. It's about, do you know Joe Dispenza?
Fire and wide new circuits, baby.
Superb. So Joe Dispenza, it's about, so we mostly live in past patterns, but he's all about, create future possibilities and act as if they're here now.
It's hard, isn't it?
Oh, it is hard.
Because when you try and do it, you can find yourself falling back in. And like I do, that's what I'm doing now. I'm working on myself. So like, I might wake up in the morning and think, so the night before I'll prep myself. I'll say, right, son, tomorrow morning I'm going to run. I'll get my gear out, blah, blah, blah. And I'm 100% for it. In the morning, the alarm goes off, 6, whatever it is, and the jack who went to bed at 10 o'clock, 10's going, oh, fucking hell, I just want another 5 minutes or whatever.
Yeah.
And then straight away, I'm correcting myself, going, whoa, no, change that, lad. Get out of bed now. Yeah. Make it happen now. Stop procrastinating. Start moving.
Yeah.
And if you get halfway down the road and half a mile in, you're thinking, that's the best decision I've ever made.
Yes.
And then your mind's changed. And then, like, so now, my routine, a friend of mine said to me, it's going a bit off track here, but I'll share it with you.
No, it's anyway. Okay, mate.
Friend of mine, good friend of mine, Tom Simpson, gave me a book which he created himself.
Yeah.
And it was a diary. I was going to touch on this a bit later with you, but I'll touch on it now.
Yeah. Go on, mate. Go for it.
And it was a diary. And basically, inside this diary, he said, the morning starts in the evening.
Yes.
Your morning starts in the evening. So if you've not planned for what you're doing tomorrow, you're not going to be very successful and you're not going to get the jump on the day, basically. And they say, don't be a man without a plan, a man without purpose. If you've got no purpose, there's no point. So I've got a lot of respect for Simo, so I've took on board what this book's saying. So I started preparing myself the night before for the next day. And then when we wake up in the morning time, there's certain rituals and routines to follow. Yeah. Like drinking water, getting your exercise in, you know what I mean? Maybe some affirmations and stuff like this. And there's 7 boxes across the top of this page with different information in it. But one of the things what I started doing, which you give me some advice to do, and it's sort of, I'd go as far as to say it's changed my life, is I've been leaving my headphones at the side of the bed, and I'd have some sort of information, whether it be Joe Dispenza, it could be David Goggins, it could be something motivational, something informational, something. I'll go, right, okay, Sam, that's me there in the morning. And the second I open my eyes when the alarm's gone off, before I get out of bed, before I do anything, I just roll over, I'll get them headphones, I'll put them in, I'll press play, and I'll just lie there. And then I'll let the voice start talking in my head, and straight away that's programming me.
Yes.
I'm going. So now them feelings of, fuck, I can't be arsed, have changed. Because it's difficult to sometimes, like I know some people say, when you wake up in the morning, put your feet on the floor and try and be grateful for all the things. So be grateful you've woke up. You can, but it's difficult for me to do that personally when you feel tired. Because being positive in a place of positivity is easy, but being positive when you're feeling negative is hard.
Yes.
It's hard to change that.
But that's where the magic is with it. Yeah.
So I've started to try and use this to go, right, okay, sound. I'm taking myself from a place where I don't really, an unmotivated place, to trying to raise the motivation. And even if it doesn't raise, then I'll use discipline. Yeah. I'll say I'm not feeling motivated today, but fuck it, I'm going to be disciplined and I'm going to do what I've got to do anyway. You know what I mean? So so I'm a massive believer in what we surround ourselves with, what we listen to, what we attract, like we spoke about before. And obviously that goes down the path of a law of attraction. Like, you're manifesting, you're creating. What basically we're creating our own lives, aren't we?
Always.
And that's been helping me in the morning time to start. How vital do you think routine is to your life?
Oh, routine's everything, mate. Routine is everything. Because we, like I say, if we live through patterns of behaviour, we don't consciously act. We create patterns of behaviour. So if we become disciplined, we can create more positive patterns that work for us better. Like you say, you can get disciplined to go for a run in the morning. You can get disciplined to meditate in the morning, cold showers, cold baths, however way you want to do it. But like you say, if you beat your mind in the morning, you know, it sets up the rest of your day.
Definitely,
yeah. Because you don't want to do it. It's uncomfortable, but that discomfort is actually what we need.
How do we make positive decisions from, or how could you advise for us to try and get in a good mind space, Kev, when we're in a bad one? Because it's like, as I said before, it's all right if like the going's good, everything's like you've got good traction, everything's easy, you know, your life's going well, you're on a good path. You know, you might have a few quid in your pocket, or you might feel good in the morning, you might be in a great place of great physical fitness. It's all right to say, I'll get up and get a little 5 mile in, or I'll go out and I'll do that. And you know, but if someone out there now is in a place where they're not fit, but they want to be, it's not easy, is it? When you're overweight and you're undisciplined and your mind's in a bad place and stuff like that. How do you start? What do you do? And also, how do we make that transition from negative to positive?
It's got to be repetition. So repetition is, the saying, fake it till you make it. You've got to sort of, you act the way you want to be and your body will eventually follow. You adopt certain postures and your body will follow. So it's about getting started, isn't it?
Do you see yourself now as the person you want to become in the future?
I think there's way more work to do.
No.
More work to do.
Maybe I conveyed that wrong.
Yes.
Do you try to see the Kev Deves that you want to, like, if you want to be a certain type of person, or what you see, it's hard for me to explain it to you, Kev. If you want to be in a certain way or live in a certain way, do you act that way now before you became that person?
Yes.
You understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. So it's obviously, I'm still subject to subconscious patterns, and I'm still subject to subconscious patterns that aren't good for me sometimes. Life comes with challenges. There's a lot more going on, and obviously just work.
Have you learned to put a marker on them challenges?
Yes, because the challenges is what makes us strong. So negative experience, this is what I was about to say before. It's easy to feel grateful when you feel good, but gratitude works better for when you're not feeling good. It can be, you're feeling like you're going through a bit of a hard time. If you can find gratitude in those moments, that's where you've smashed it.
Yeah.
Because life is duality. It's not always going to be good. And it's like, when we don't feel good, we let it defeat us, or we've let it defeat us. So it's about what we can do. So I express gratitude when I'm if I'm in a negative place. I'm grateful because I understand that those emotions are just as valid as the positive emotions. And it's the denial or avoidance of those emotions that actually leads to a lot of the suffering.
Something that I don't think gets enough airtime. Acceptance is important. We've got to accept what's happened. We've got to accept what's going on now, and we've got to accept what may be coming in the future. Have to. How much content? This is I had a friend, a pair of us used to be into our eating, still are.
Yeah.
But this is just going back to when he said this to me. And at the time, he was young. He was only like 21. I was older than him. But he was pretty switched on for his age. And now, boss kid. And he said to me one day, like, the pair of us were reading loads up. The pair of us were banging into self-development. We were training all the time and stuff. And one day he looked at me, we were driving along, and he went to me, Jack, how much content do we need to consume before we act upon it?
Yes.
And it fucking hit me like,
he's right. He's right, because it has to be applied.
People think you can go out and pick a book up, read The Secret, and that's it. Bang, your life's changed, man.
So knowledge is nothing without application.
No.
You have to apply it. I done a meditation, like, it was about maybe 18 months ago. And in my meditation, my mind told me, can you just read some fiction? Right? And I was like, so I was thinking about it, and then it was like, I used to really love reading fiction books. That's what I used to be into. But since 2012, it's always been self-development books over and over. Joe Dispenza, David Goggins, Jordan Peterson, you name it.
Peterson's a bad man.
Peterson is unbelievable, mate. Unbelievable. Well, he's about understanding what the internal process is. So a lot of his work is based on the ideas of Carl Jung. You know, so that's all about the connecting with the inside. And his teachings about becoming a monster, like, obviously we understand that's about integrating your aggression. So toxic aggression is when it's suppressed, or it's rage, or it's passive aggression. Well, that's not healthy. But if you integrate your aggression, it becomes assertiveness. So that means you can push forward in your life, but it also means you're not going to be a doormat. Because it's important to be nice to people, but if you're too nice, you will get taken advantage of. So you've got to find a sweet point where it's like, okay, I'm going to be nice. However, if people take the piss, I'm not just going to fucking roll over. You don't be a doormat.
Do you believe we've been installed with, it's just something that's hit me now, like, I've never really ever went this way with my mind, but why not? negative emotions and positive emotions, or what we class to be negative and positive.
Yeah.
So like happiness, joy, sadness, anger. Do you think we've been installed with these negative emotions because they're not just, we see them as bad?
Yes.
But what you're saying, what you're teaching me now is these aren't all bad
No,
emotions.
they're not
We've
bad.
just got to know how to use them. And
What's
facilitate them.
what's fear trying to do? It's trying to keep you safe. What's guilt trying to do? It's letting you know when you missed the mark. What's shame trying to teach you? It's teaching you when you've let the group down. Resentment teaches what you don't like. It's when these emotions become suppressed and they build up that they become really toxic. But you need little bits of each. You need bits of fear. You need to feel regret sometimes.
Or you wouldn't hit the mark, yeah. I know
you wouldn't hit the
mean,
mark.
yeah.
And then we need duality, because how would you know what's good if you don't know what's bad?
When you say duality, Kev, you're educating me. Do you
Yeah.
mean good and bad?
A duality is many different things. It's dark and light. It's left and right. It's up and down. It's infinite and finite.
Yeah, there's two of it. For what?
Yeah.
For up, there's down.
Yes, there's always opposites.
And opposites.
Yeah, even when you create love in your, say, like in your life with your family, watch what happens when you're angry with one of your kids. In that moment, you could kill that little bastard.
Yeah.
So, but what that is, that's showing that the opposites. That's because in that moment you went into your shadow, you know, and then it's a different thing. But we need these polarity to give each other meaning, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, because otherwise it means nothing. If imagine everything was just good all the time, how would you know?
Yeah, you'd never know bad. Yeah,
You wouldn't know.
and then you wouldn't know it was good. Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah,
There's got to be bad for there to be good.
there's got to be bad for
We
this
just
good.
want the good to outweigh the bad, don't we?
We do, yeah. But then what that happens, that means we're always aiming to be high. And it's like most of the magic is found by going through our roots and going into our darkness. That's where we find most of the magic, and that's where we unfold most of what is actually us.
Well, it's trying to change as well. It's trying to change our mindsets. It's trying to change a negative into a positive. So if something bad happens in the morning, you say to yourself, well, this is a challenge, this was sent to create a challenge for me today. I'm going to grow from this. I'm going to learn from this. Or you're in a fucking rush, you're driving along the road, bang, the lights go red, and you're like, bastard, I wanted that to be green. Well, if it was green, you might have flew through the next junction and been hit by a fucking truck. You don't know. So sometimes these bad things are really not bad things.
They're not bad things.
That's fucking good. That was the path we were meant.
And
do
it's
you
also
believe that we should be like there's a path created for us, Kevin? Or
I think there's a path within each person, but obviously outside distractions keep us from the path. You know, so I believe that everyone's here. Everyone's got a valuable gift to share with the world. But obviously, if we are distracted by the external, well, we never get to open these gifts or share them with the world, do we?
No, we don't. When you said you read a lot of books, and we've just been touching on different people, influencers and stuff like that. If there was someone watching this now who was looking to better themselves or change their lives, is there any books that you could advise? What you'd say, that's a good read. That's a good read.
I'd think, right. I always go for Carl Jung books.
I'd never heard of Carl Jung until you told me about it before.
So there's a really good one to begin with, right, called The Undiscovered Self. It's about 90 pages long, and it's about the self within, but it also talks a lot about if we don't discover the self, how we are susceptible to groupthink and collective behaviours. And obviously, I'm not saying collective behaviours are all bad, but we've obviously seen how bad they can become.
Social media got a lot to answer for.
Social media's got dark and light in it as well.
It's how we view it.
Yeah, it's how we use it. So it's created massive connection all over the world. Like we're talking about David Goggins before and Jordan
Peterson. We wouldn't know about them.
We wouldn't know about these great teachers if they didn't have the internet.
If we never had the internet, me and you wouldn't be sitting here now doing this podcast.
There we go.
There'd be no one for listening to it.
Yeah. So everything has got light and shadow in it. We've got to find that sweet point in the middle, in the centre, where, you know, there's benefits and there's also, you know, negative things.
This was one I never had up my sleeve, but
yeah.
Do you believe that we can live harmoniously?
People?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think it's more about becoming harmonious with ourselves first, and I think that makes us feel differently towards other people. So when I understood my own behaviours and you know, my own shadows and a lot of my own patterns, it's helped me understand and appreciate the behaviours of a lot of other people. You know, so people I might have held animosity towards for whatever reason, it's helped me understand how I see the same processes going on with me are going on within that person. So, you know, I'm just meeting them how they are in that moment. So it helps me forgive quite easily if I need to.
You're using yourself to analyse others.
Yes, because we all, the psychology, whether we're like another shared.
Do you think, we've all got the same motherboard, we've all got the same map?
But this comes on to another Jungian idea, archetypes. So archetype means original pattern, okay? So the same way our body has evolved physically through adaptation, the mind's evolved patterns of behaviour. Think about the hero, think about the magician, think about the Joker. These are all well-worn patterns of human behaviour, all very important. The warrior is a symbolic representation of what's happening within the body. The lover's a symbolic representation of what's happening within the heart. The magician's what's happening within the intellect. If we have them three communicating well, you've got a healthy king. Okay? Each archetype has got shadow to it. It's got a passive shadow and an active shadow. So the passive shadow of the warrior would be the masochist. The active shadow of the warrior would be the sadist. The warrior in his wholeness is someone who uses his power in a positive way that's good for other people. You know? The lover can be the distant lover or the addicted lover. You know? You want to be somewhere in between them. You don't want to be an addicted lover, but you also don't want to be a distant lover. And you don't want to be with someone who's either an addicted lover or a distant lover. Yeah, because you're going to end up taking the opposite pole.
Balance is key.
Balance is key in everything.
In life, innit?
Yes.
Life
everything.
is balance.
Life is all about balance, everything.
It's hard to get balance sometimes. Can we become too aware?
Can we become too aware? So I think as people do become aware, it haunts them. Because if you, obviously the internet has revealed a lot about the world that me and you didn't know. A lot of good things, but also there's a lot of darkness in the world as well. And it's like being able to look at that darkness and not run a mile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
World views as well.
Yeah.
We create our own, don't we? And you know, there's a million and one things going on out there. But myself personally, I don't watch the news.
Yeah, I don't.
I try and choose what influences my mind.
Yeah.
And I try and create my own worldview. So some people will say to me, like, me talk about business and say, fucking hell, it's going to be hard out there now, you know.
Yeah.
Is it?
That's creating a belief system.
Is it?
Yeah.
It might be for you, but, you know, the economy's fucked. Mine isn't. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Oh, things have got more expensive, you know, people going to be able to afford it. Well, they have for fucking generations, so they will for the future.
Yeah.
I just try and get in my own, I think to myself, well, in my certain line of business, there'll always be somebody there. I've just got to be that person.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There'll always be somebody who requires my services.
Of course.
I've just got to be the person to be. I'm not saying everybody who provides that service will survive and continue to produce or provide that service, but I will.
Yes.
I'm going to be that dude who's there. Do you know what I mean? And that's my belief system. That's my worldview. But when I'm saying about can we become too aware, as I've tried to develop my self-awareness, sometimes, well, not sometimes, I went to lie to you there, Kevin, all the time, I overthink.
Yes.
I'm an overthinker. And when I said to you before, do you put markers on, like, on a negative thought or a negative circuit? Because we all have them.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll see myself dropping back into that, like, that negative thought pattern or whatever. Yeah. And when it triggers in my mind, I'm aware of it now.
Yes. Well, that's what awareness. That's what awareness. Yeah, that's what awareness is all about.
I wish I was, but I'm not. I'm only aware of a very small percentage of it. But when I can be aware of it, and like, whoa, you went to do that again there, or don't do that, or try not to think like that. And I'm trying to, like, bring myself up out of these patterns and trying to create new ones. But sometimes I can be, like, crazily aware where, like, my missus, like, you need to chill out. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, no, I don't. And, like, in terms of switching off, I can't. I struggle. So, like, I'll get up in the morning time, I'll do my morning routine,
Yeah.
I'll exercise, whatever I'm doing, then I'll go to work, I'll do my day, and at the end of the working day, I'll come home, do whatever it is. But that time where you're supposed to switch off, I struggle to switch off, Kev.
Yeah.
Have you got any advice for me there? Because when it's like me and my missus, the kids have went to bed, we're watching the telly, I find myself, right, I'll pause the telly, right, when we're watching Netflix, and like, I'll start telling her, like, all about my business, this idea, what I've got, or this went bad today, or this could go better, and blah, 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 blah. And I've got that much, like, sort of built up inside of me.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to get it all out. And then I look and I go, I might have been planning to go to bed for 10 o'clock or 10:30, and now it's like 11:15, and I don't feel settled.
Yeah.
And then, like, I'll get upstairs, I'll get in my bed, and like, oh, I could try and I discipline myself, and I think, right, I'll switch off, I'll put some telly on. And then I'll get in my bed, and just as I've set the alarm, I've rolled over and ready for the next day, these thoughts are just run through my mind, like what I'm going to do tomorrow, and I'm going to do this, or I'm going to change that.
Journaling.
Yeah.
Journaling's and also a very, very good practice to use. It's externalise everything. Anything that comes up in here, it wants expression and consciousness. If you don't express it, it's going to come back. So
That's manifestation in its purest form as well, innit, Kevin? Because what you've just said to me there, if I get that in my mind, it wants to be out in the physical world.
Everything coming into the mind wants expression and consciousness, and if we don't give it expression, it gets suppressed. And that's when it becomes dangerous. Whereas, like, if you take that opportunity to write it down, externalise it, put it into structure, because it's coming up as it comes from the feminine part of us, the creative part. And then when we put it into structure, that's when we brought it into balance.
Do you feel some of us have got more traffic than others in the mind? Because I do. That's how I feel personally. Yeah. Like, my mind's like, boom,
mine never shuts up. Mine never shuts up. That's why the meditation's been brilliant for me, because I give it a break. You know what I mean? Like, me and my missus got up this morning. We've done a yoga class at 7:30 this morning, because one of my favourite yoga teachers has moved back to studio in Crosby, and I've been proper excited all week to go to this yoga class on a Saturday. And
that's what it's all about, isn't it?
That's what it's all about. But you know what, right? Being in the room with that, because when I was starting out and when I was doing a lot of the work on myself, I'd go to that hair yoga class. So being in there this morning,
it's a comfort for you.
Oh yeah, it was lovely. I had some lovely, like, releases. Yeah. You know, like, and it was
of endorphin.
Oh yeah, so no releases of emotion.
Emotion, yeah.
Yeah. So obviously our emotions get trapped within the body, and you know, each of us suppress a lot. And there's a lot going on in the world, obviously, so we're even suppressing more now. And to go to that class this morning is like an hour escape, you know, to release and let it out. You know what I mean?
Mantra.
What?
Mantra.
Yes.
What is a mantra? How can we use it? How is it most effective?
Mantra. So mantra is a word or a series of words that you can repeat silently to yourself. You can repeat it out loud. And what it's doing is, it depends on what mantra you use. And so some mantras have got a purpose and a meaning. Some mantras don't really mean anything. They just act as a point of focus. So it depends on how you're going to apply the mantra and where you get the mantra from. So when I do my meditations, when I teach meditation, I use a couple of different mantras with different people. One mantra might be I am. That's an unbelievably powerful.
They're the most powerful words in the human existence, isn't it? I am. Because anything which follows I am.
Yes.
You are.
You are. Yes.
I am happy. I am scared. I am sad. Yes. I am fucking strong. Whatever you say you are.
You are.
And if you're not, if you say it enough, you'll become it.
Your subconscious is listening 100% of the time. So if you speak words to yourself that aren't good, that's what it believes. If you speak words that are good and, you know, empowering, well, that's what it believes.
Explain to someone listening, Kev, if you can't try to convey it. Sometimes we say something, we don't believe it.
Yeah.
This is what I struggle with. Like, well, I've seen as well, my missus is scared of driving, right? She wants to learn to drive. She's a good driver, really good driver. But every time she gets in the car, her head falls off, right?
Yeah.
She's failed 3 tests because of it. Honestly, she's a better driver than what I was when I was learning to drive. But my mind frame was completely different. I weren't afraid of it, so it didn't matter to me. So I've told her to tell herself loads of times, like, tell yourself, I'm a good driver. I'm not afraid of driving. I let go of fear when I'm in that car. And no matter how many times she's tried to say, she says to me, Jack, I don't believe what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And I'm saying, keep saying it and you will believe it.
Yeah, you're right. You're right
You've
on what you're
just got to
saying.
keep saying it, haven't you?
Because seeing where your behaviours are patterned, your thought patterns are also repetitive, repeating patterns. 90% of what our mind says to us is the same thing I said yesterday. You know, because that's creating a sense of self. That's who we believe we are. So she believes that she's not good at driving.
It's very difficult to alter our beliefs, isn't it?
Yeah, but that's what I mean. That's right. It's all about repetition. Mm-hmm. So the repetition would be, so imagine like you've got a field and you've got a path that's been walked for years and it's wore down to the soil. Okay? Well, what's going to happen is people are going to keep on choosing that path because it's there. But if you want to create something new, you have to walk in a different direction. And if everyone else walks in that direction, that pathway becomes bigger and that pathway will overgrow with grass. But you can't change the behaviour by focusing on the behaviour. You've got to focus on something new in a different direction. This is how neuroplasticity works. You've got to create new connections. You've got to create new pathways.
It's crazy as well because I watched Matthew McConaughey done a live thing on Friday, it was. And I watched it. It was on for a while and he had different guests on. And one of the guests, some of them were good. Marie Folio, there was a few, Tony Robbins. Yeah. But this one guy anyway came on and he said about change. And he was saying like change is very, very important. But people struggle changing. But when they hear about change, they think you've got to do like a massive change or you've got to do a complete 180. And he used an analogy similar to what you just done then, so it struck a chord with me. He said if you could imagine if there was a tractor in a field and the farmer put it out every day and it ran that same run every day, like you said there, it creates a divot, creates a rut, and it gets stuck in that rut and it keeps going. And eventually you'd be able to program it where like you could just put a fucking brick on the pedal and it just go in that same direction and it get there, come back. But if you want to change, you don't need to completely turn the wheel. If you just turn the wheel a little bit, it's stay in that rut for so long, and after a quarter of a mile it starts edging out and 3 miles out it be in a completely different place in that field
completely
with just a little bit of turn, with just a little bit of change,
with just a little alteration. So it's like what's important, you know, when we're changing behaviours, right, is don't try to do too much at once. So say like if you've got a problem with alcohol and a problem with cocaine, do one or the other first. Repeat that, get a couple of months free from one and then do the other, because then you're not trying to overwhelm or overload yourself. You just do a bit at a time. But then them changes, if you make 3 or 4 of them changes in a year, by the end of that year, you're a completely different person. That's a psychological rebirth, you know? Because as you're letting go of parts of you that no longer resonate and no longer serve you, well, you're slightly reborn as a different person, you know? And it's all a psychological process.
People say like, a leopard never changed its spots, and that's something I used to believe and I really don't anymore, because people do change, and like you're not who you were last year.
No.
And you're not now who you will be in 3, 4, 5 years.
No.
Because you're mind for it. As you develop, we change, and as we wire new circuits, we change.
Yeah.
There is patterns and bad habits that we can fall back into, but as you said, subconsciously, they'll always be, well, they won't always be there, but they'll be there a lot of the time. But if we can be conscious about what's going on in the subconscious, we can basically create a new pattern.
They're sitting there waiting in the comfort zone all the time.
Comfort zone's a horrible place.
No, but that's the thing. But so we've come from nature where nature's fucking cruel, nature's dangerous. Right, and then we put ourselves in these square boxes. We've cut ourselves off from nature, from all the dangers. So we become like lazy, and you know. But we need them challenges. This is why when people put themselves in ice water, even though it's fucking horrible,
it's good for you.
It's unbelievably good for you, because you just won a small battle with your mind with that one simple practice. You know,
I've been practicing myself. Cold water. I feel the shower's harder than getting in the bath as well, because when I'm in the bath, it's like the water's all around me, And it's like when you jump in a cold pool, you can put your head under, you get in that zone, and I'm in the zone.
Yeah.
But when I'm in the shower, it's like, yeah, this has just went from warm, now it's turned cold, and this is fucking horrible. And every day now when I get a shower, I used to look forward to it.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, I've got to get a shower in a minute. And when I get in there, I'm telling myself, listen, there's no way. I had a chest infection for a fortnight and it wouldn't go away. And I've not long got over it about a week ago. And I've been in a good routine with getting cold showers. And even though I had that chest infection, every day I got a cold shower. Yeah. And my missus was saying to me, it won't be helping you. I said, I don't care. I'm not weakening my mind, because it was a challenge. When I get in there, I'd be like, I'm not letting this beat me. I'm going to do this regardless. But comfort, it's a lovely thing, comfort. And I believe we should have it now and again. You know, when you are sitting there on the couch with a little bar of chocolate, watching the telly, lovely. But it's limiting ourselves to it, and it's knowing comfort's bad.
More balance. More balance.
Because with comfort, if you're in that comfort zone all the time, you will never, ever, ever grow. And I've seen you put something up. When actually you said it, but it was along the lines of, it was a quote you'd shared saying, what we are looking for most will be in the place where we least want to find it.
That was Joseph Campbell. The treasure you seek is in the cave you least want to look. So what he's talking about is there's stuff about us that we need to look at, but we're terrified to look at, you know, because we're terrified to look at, you know, bad memories, bad experiences. We're terrified to look at them because we think it's going to overwhelm us. But the most important thing for us to do is to look at them things, find ways to sit with them, find ways to work through them, because it's really important, even though it's not comfortable.
If there's a phone call you don't want to make, you just don't want to make it.
No.
It's there in your mind. You're like, I'll do that tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow comes. I'll do it this afternoon. I'll do it tomorrow. Fucking lingers for a week.
Yeah.
And then you make that phone call. When you put the phone down, no matter what the outcome was, if it was as negative as you thought it was going to be, and you're like, oh, fuck. Or if it was a lot more positive than what you thought, and you're like, don't know what I worried about that for. Either which fucking way, you feel better, don't you?
You feel much better.
It's like, I've done it now.
Do you know what the fear is? Unknown. The biggest fear in any human, or any animal, is the unknown. So see the way animals, they have territory. Well, they fear stepping outside of that territory because it's safe. As soon as they step out of it, they're creating something new. Same with us. But we are scared to take the step outside of that place that's known reality. It's massive fear. But you could argue it needs to be there, because otherwise everyone would just be fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it needs that. We need that challenge. We need that pushback.
We are limitless, but we limit ourselves. Back to the quick one as well. Tom Simpson said to another one. He said, draw a circle on a piece of paper, and write inside that circle all the things you're comfortable with, and on the outside of the circle, write all the things that you're not comfortable with.
Yes.
And the things that you're not comfortable with on the outside of the circle, do more of them. Do as much of them as you can. Repeat and practice it. And eventually, when you become comfortable with it, put it in the circle.
Yeah.
And as what happens is, your circle grows.
Yes.
You draw your circle bigger on that page, because now them things that were on the outside are now on the inside.
Yeah.
And eventually, we grow.
That's a really good way of putting it.
That's where growth happens.
Yes.
It happens when we're in places of discomfort.
Yes.
You never grow in your comfort zone, do you?
Never, mate. Never. You just stagnate.
You do. And that's why I said, like, it's bad for us. It's good to have a little bit of it, but never too much.
Yeah.
Affirmations.
Yeah.
Affirmations, Kev. There's something we repeat to ourselves, aren't they? Or we can do, or we can write them down.
Yeah.
Explain to somebody who doesn't know what an affirmation is, what it is, how can we use it, and how can we get the best benefits from them.
So the best benefits from it, same again, repetition. Because sometimes when we first start out with affirmations, you know, the conscious mind doesn't take it on board, it doesn't believe it. But if we keep on repeating, the subconscious picks it up. Because everything is picked up through repetition. This is how, obviously, the ruling classes manage to control people very easily, because the news is repetitive. BBC News 24, you know, you name all these news channels that are repetitive. So what happens is the subconscious mind doesn't necessarily take on what's true. It takes on what's familiar. So if it keeps on repeating, it takes it on board. But the same works with affirmations. So affirmations, if you keep on repeating, you stick with it. Another practice, you become disciplined with it. Eventually, your subconscious takes it on board, and that becomes your reality.
So for someone who's listening who doesn't know what an affirmation is where we can get something and write it down. Maybe it could be like an I am.
Yes. Yeah.
I am strong, I am loving, I am beautiful, whatever you want to become, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
And you'd write it down continuously, or you could write it down once and maybe repeat it 10 times in the morning, that particular thing.
Do you know what's handy? The voice recorder on your phone. Everyone nowadays got a smartphone, and every smartphone's got a voice recorder on.
Yeah.
You can have a couple of minutes where you repeat affirmations to yourself, a couple of minutes, and then listen to it repetitively. Listen to it like 5 times in the morning, so you get 10 minutes of affirmations, and your subconscious taking it on board. And it's even more effective if it's in your voice.
Yeah, because you're listening to yourself.
You're
that
listening
inner
to
voice
yours.
inside you.
Yeah.
Is now outside. So when you said about things becoming familiar and stuff like that, there, anxiety.
Yeah.
Anxiety seems to be fucking massive in the world of today. A lot of people talk about it. It's become common and common language.
Yeah.
They felt dead anxious. I didn't want to go. You know, my anxiety's kicked in terrible.
Yeah.
You hear it a lot, don't you?
Always.
Now, what is the root of anxiety? Well, there's many roots of anxiety, but how can we deal with it, Kevin? Also, maybe not just long term.
Yeah.
Is there any techniques or anything we can do if you are having a severe bout of anxiety where you're feeling like, I feel anxious here? How can we, is there any tips or techniques that we can do to sort of quell them feelings?
Sit with it. Because the thing is, anxiety is like a fire alarm. It's like a fire alarm going off, but it's not the fire. Okay, so it's pointing to something else underneath the anxiety. So imagine there's something that you haven't looked at for a long time. It's been pushed down. The anxiety is what comes as a result of pushing it down and not looking at it. But if you go into the anxiety and feel into it, it'll reveal what the anxiety is for. It could be you have got massive guilt over something. It could be you feel ashamed over something, but there's always an emotion underneath the anxiety. The anxiety itself is not an emotion, it's a teacher. It's like a warning sign going off. And that's when like we need to sit with ourselves. I'll be honest with you, I won't turn around and say I do not like anxiety, because I don't mind it now, because it's always trying to teach me something.
Because now you understand why it's there.
It's valuable. It's very valuable. If we're doing something that doesn't suit our soul, it's going to let us know.
When you used to feel anxiety, Kev, did it used to scare you?
Oh, yeah, I used to sniff Charlie to get away from me. Or have a bevy or something like that, because obviously these are good ways to mask and suppress. Whereas now when it comes, I tend to sit with it now, because I want to know what it means. And it's always got a surprise underneath it.
Does it reveal itself when you sit with it for long enough?
It always reveals itself. And then, like, obviously, a lot of people get anxiety built up in the chest, or, you know, in the solar plexus or something like that. I'll sit with the feeling. I'll sit in that discomfort to see what it's got to teach me. Because it's always got something to teach me. There's always something underneath it. And then that's the only way to switch the fire alarm off, is find out where the cause of the fire is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Blew me mind, that,
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. It's humans are incredible creatures, and like I say, we look at these things as if they're all negatives, but that's a way of perceiving something. If you perceive it as, okay, this anxiety is trying to keep the whole system safe, so I'm going to find out what the anxiety's got to say.
Yeah, what's it saying? Why is the alarm going off?
Why is the alarm going off? And then what happens is, when you sit with it and you find out what it is, you can work through what's underneath the anxiety, and it'll switch the alarm off. Yeah. Good stuff.
Just put the code in, baby, yeah?
Yes.
Turn that alarm off.
That's it.
0, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah. And a lot of the time, it might not even be the end of the world what you need to sit with. It's just because, obviously, we start collecting experiences in the subconscious from when we're born, okay? When you're a baby, you freely express emotion, don't you? You cry, you have tantrums, you know, you're not asked.
Yeah.
But then as you're growing up, you might have a parent say, oh, you know, stop crying, or something like that. And you learn to...
You lock it in.
You lock it in. And then as we get older, because of social pressure, we don't express our emotions freely. In fact, we try to pretend like they're not there. But it's like, you know...
They are.
They are there. They're there. It's true. It's there. So it's like, okay, so I need to become familiar. That's what the word meditation means. It means to become familiar with. So you're becoming familiar with yourself and bringing more awareness to what's going on within yourself. So the key to solving your anxiety is for you to sit with it. And no one else can sit with it for you. You've got to do it. You've got to have a look.
There's a guy called Brennan, who Mark Scanlon introduced me to. And, well, he never introduced me personally. I went to sit down with him and listen to what he had to say. He done like a sort of seminar. And he said that a thought with no emotion is like, it's like having an aeroplane.
Yeah.
It's not very well put together, a paper aeroplane.
Yes.
When you throw it, it just goes down.
Yeah.
Well, having a thought with no feeling behind it, it won't do anything for you.
No.
And he said, like, when you're a kid, you have a lot more feelings, like you said. Like, well, no, you don't. You'd have the same feelings, but you'd express them a lot better. So, like, for example, if someone gets you, you come down on Christmas Day, you're like, fucking yeah, you've made up, you're excited, you're jumping all around the place, yeah. You don't act like that as an adult. Because when you start getting older, when you get to 18 now, when you're jumping up and down, your mum and dad say, fucking pack it in, Kev. Yes. You're acting like a big fucking kid now. Yes. You know, you're 10 now.
Yes. It's right though. It's
and
right.
when I'm 21 and 30, my mum still says to me, you're acting like a big fucking kid, calm down. But on a serious note, it's them feelings that create whatever we want to create. So we're thinking about something that we want. Yeah. If you can get on that frequency, not just saying, for example, if you wanted to manifest a car, if you were thinking about it, thinking, I want to get a car, I want to get a car, that's not enough.
No, you need to take action.
Yeah.
You need to put energy into it and emotion.
During the action.
Yes.
When you're going out and trying to, like, devise how you going to go about getting this car, say, for example, you then behind that, you're going to, you're feeling it, you're seeing it, like you can feel whatever that car is. How does it look? How does it feel? What does it smell like? You got to get like excited in yourself by it, and when you get that like real feeling behind thought, that's when it becomes powerful.
Yes.
And things move out of the way, and it will create. Yeah. And you can do that with all forms of life, can't you?
Yes. Yeah. The root of the word emotion is Latin. It's emotere. And emotere means energy and motion. So when you have a thought, it creates an energetic charge in the body. So like you're saying, if you wanna create something, you have to bring the thought, but also put energy into it. So this is being grateful for something before it even happens. Yeah. You know? And that's it. And like you just said then, it's really trying to solidify what it is. So the more real you can make it for yourself, the more likely it's gonna come to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Heavier.
Yeah, it is. And I'm trying to take it all in and absorb everything what you're saying to me. Mental health's massive right now. Like, it's bigger than it's ever been.
Yeah.
Do you think that it is bigger than it's ever been?
Yeah.
Or do you think that it's just getting more airtime? Do you just think that more people are talking about it? Do you think people were feeling the same decades ago, but it weren't spoken about?
We've got to think about the internet and the phones as like the invention of the printing press. So what's happened is the printing press got invented, I think, in 1548, right? And this allowed information to be widely disseminated, and it led to all sorts of like massive historical events like the Reformation of the Church and the scientific and industrial revolutions. The peak of the Renaissance happened after, the printing press and the wide dissemination of information. Well, the internet and the phone is like the printing press on steroids. So,
do you think when the printing press before the internet was readily available, all the information what we're talking about now was being suppressed?
Right, so one of the main things that happened after the invention of the printing press was the Reformation of the Church. So Protestantism didn't exist before the invention of the printing press. What Protestantism was born from is this man called Martin Luther. He was a German minister, right? And he found out that the Catholic Church, a lot of the priests, they weren't sort of interpreting Scripture the way that it should have been interpreted. So it was in the perfect time to be able to disseminate the information that led to the Reformation, and it took a lot of the Catholic Church's power away. Because the Catholic Church was too powerful at many different stages in history. I'm not saying the Catholic Church is a completely negative entity either, because obviously there's a lot of positives that come from it. But if anything gets too much power, it becomes dangerous, So when it was able to be reformed, then, that's why there's so many denominations of Christianity all over the world now, is because loads of different places. What?
Sorry, go on.
No, go on.
Religion's a form of control, isn't it?
Right, so I think all religions were born from an awakening of consciousness in a people. And then when it's become a group thing, it's gone into its shadow. So
is that why you were saying to me before about like group, like collective thinking can be dangerous.
Yeah, so this is the herd animal. So if you're an individual, you are trying to express your individuality from inside. That's an individual. If you are building your personality based on what other people think, you become something acceptable to them. So then if you've got a large group of people, like a religion or a political group, and you're going along with stupid ideas just because everyone else is doing it, well, you're letting go of a part of you to become what other people want. That's what every single group consciousness has done over time.
Subconsciously, we all want to be accepted, don't we?
Subconsciously, we all want to be accepted. But then, so the way I look at things is, right, I can look at now religions, political groups of all different persuasions, both sides, and I can find good in all, but I can also see shadow in all. So that to me is balance, because I'm not getting pulled to one extreme or another. I'm able to see the good and the benefits from each thing, but I'm also able to say, okay, you know, that's not really, it's a bit dodgy, isn't it? But, you know, that's gone a bit far, hasn't it?
Yeah.
But what happens is within the group never sees the evil in the group. The group always sees the evil outside the group in someone else or another group of individuals.
Yeah, it's them.
Yes, like, what was it? The great example is obviously Nazism, right? So the German people got convinced that, and convinced to project onto Jewish people, but that was collective projection, you know? So it wasn't taking people at an individual level. It was taking this belief.
Yeah,
it's everyone.
Who's associated with them.
All you are this, and then it's like, but then it's like, oh no,
There's many individuals who are differences in that collective. I know what you're saying.
Yeah, so I think everyone you should give everyone a chance of getting to know them on an individual level. Not just blanketly project onto them as if you are this because you look like this.
Brings me on to something else, like saying about like change the world and change yourself and stuff like that. A lot of people blame everything external for how they feel, why their life's that certain fucking way.
Yes.
Because it was them.
That's a projection.
Yeah, you know what I mean? They're saying, well, you know, fucking, no, my life's this way because, you know, the system, because of the government, because of the weather, because of fucking, I lost such and such, or they, you know, I was in an abusive relationship or whatever. They just blame the fucking world. But the second you say to yourself, no, it's this way because of me. Yeah. It was me who created this. That's all of game changer, man.
All of it. If you can own all of it, you can 100% do something about it.
I know everything in my life's my fault, good and bad.
Same here. Like, you know, while doing this work on myself, I used to blame other people for getting sacked from loads of different jobs. And now looking at it now, every single one was me. Every single one. Yeah, that was me.
You created it.
I was a bellend.
Yeah. But you just couldn't see it at the time. No. And it's like, that fucking manager, John, if I ever seen him again, I'd fucking smack him. It was his fault. It was blah. No, it weren't, Kev. It was fucking you.
Yes, always.
And it's the same for me. Always. I know it. Everything I've created, good and bad, is me.
All.
But a lot of people who are unsuccessful, who are having issues with being as successful as they'd like to be, blame the external.
Of course. But if they're focusing on what other people are doing and they're focusing on blaming other people, they're not going to be able to put enough energy into what they need to put it into.
Yeah.
You know?
What was it that attracted you to start sharing these self-discoveries and developments within yourself with others?
So I really like humans, right? And I want to see us all win. So, you know, if I get a bit of information that may help other people, I'm more than happy to share it. Yeah.
And was that like basically the primary driving force for you to start doing what you're doing?
Yeah. I'm a massive believer that the world can go one or two ways. We can go into the abyss or we can go to an amazing place, depending on how we handle it as a group. So if I can make a small contribution, I'm more than happy to.
Explain to the viewers, Kev, for the people who are watching or listening, who don't know who you are, which you've got quite a bit of a following on social media, haven't you? But for people who don't know who you are, what exactly do you do?
So I work as a mindset coach, and what this means is I do one-to-one sessions with people where I take people through their subconscious patterns of behaviour, help them process trauma, teach them positive habits, help them integrate the shadow, help them heal the inner child, teach them breath work, whatever the individual needs. So each person, I try to keep a loose structure to the sessions. So when someone comes in, it's like a puzzle. And then we spend the first, like, say, half an hour, 40 minutes where they're explaining to me what they're going through. And then from that, I'll try to put the puzzle pieces together.
And see where you think, what techniques they could use better.
Yeah, so what normally happens is the first session is all about processing emotional trauma to give them a quieter mind. And then the second session, I normally do something called timeline therapy, where we go and look at historical things and help them look at things that have happened, reframe them, and look at them from a different perspective.
You've got to go back to go forward, haven't you?
Always, because most people are not reacting to what's happening in front of them. They're reacting to a perceived wound from the past all the time. So it's like a lot of people, when they're getting angry, it's not really anger. They're feeling sad, and the anger acts as a protective response. You know, so it's helping people understand that if they do go back and reframe things and look at them in a different way, try to find forgiveness, try to find gratitude, try to find a lesson and a wisdom in what's happened, then it allows them to move forward with their life, you know?
So what you're saying to me is emotional reactions, a lot of the time, are a byproduct of another emotion in the past.
Yes, yeah. So think about it this way. Something might have happened back in the day where it's created a feeling of sorrow that's always sort of underneath the surface. So this is like, imagine an animal that's wounded and you put it into a corner, it's going to attack. Well, humans operate from the mammalian brain. That's a survival response, you know? So it's, even though it appears negative, it's still trying to protect the person in some way or another, you know? So like, it's important to, obviously we want to live in the present, but this often means we have to look at some of the things that have happened in the past and try to change how we feel about them. And, you know, we can hold animosity and resentment towards people and situations forever, but that's on us. You heard the saying, drinking poison, expecting the other person to die. That's a lot of what it is. A lot of the time we hold resentments forever for all sorts of perceived slights. And I say that perceived slights. So a good example might be, right, I've got a lovely family, love me mum and dad, brilliant people. But I perceived that when my mum was brought my little brother home, and I'm like 2.5, oh, she's replaced me. So my perception was she's replaced me with another boy. So that particular pattern ended up, I used to go out in the pub with my missus, and if someone looked at it, I'd fucking kick off. Because I think, this lad's trying to steal my missus. But it's the same pattern. So I had to make peace with that pattern myself and realise, no, my mum just brought another baby home. But you were perceiving it that way because you'd spent 2.5 years with, you know, your favourite person in the world, and then she's brought a new baby home. It's
an addition, it's not a takeover.
That's it, it's an addition. But then this also creates, family dynamics create the human experience.
Definitely, yeah. A lot of people with a troubled childhood, troubled past, they're either really successful or really crazy people, aren't they? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And a lot of people, it's vast spread, like especially me sitting down talking to people, the amount of people that have had traumatic pasts.
Yeah.
Traumatic pasts are more popular than none.
Yes.
I'd say the higher percentage of people have been through mad shit and have mad upbringings and crazy families than people who... It's very rare I get someone, I speak to them and they go, oh, my childhood was great and everything was perfect, and it's rare.
Well, mine was brilliant and full of love, but it's my perceptions
of what it was.
Yeah, it's more my perceptions than anything else. If anything, my mum and dad probably it was too good in some respects. I had to go out later in life to find dangerous things to build character. You know what I mean? Because I think, obviously, you know, if your child receives too much trauma, it can be, you know, it can be devastating. But if we don't receive any at all, we can be naive.
Yeah, I try and expose my kids a little bit because of that.
Yeah,
because we've got a good family structure at home.
Yeah,
me and my missus have got a good relationship, and you know, my boys are well looked after, but they're spoiled in certain extents, and I want to try and expose them a little bit to reality, because at the end of the day, they're going to come unstuck as they get older if they're not.
Yeah. This is where fighting comes in. This is where things like boxing comes in.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. And trying to, like, my eldest lad now, he's been playing football not long. He's 9 now, and he started late. He started about 8 or something like that, and he never really wanted to play. And he went and started playing with this group, and they were not a proper team. They're having a kick around and whatever. And he couldn't fucking kick a ball. He was terrible, right? Yeah. But he started getting better, and then he's become like reasonably decent in this group. So I took him somewhere else on another night in the week now. And these kids are shit hot, they're brilliant. And he's come off and he's devastated. And he was like, oh, Dad. And I said to him, look, son, this is an opportunity for you to grow. You're in and around really good kids here. You should be excited by this. This is an opportunity for you to grow. Yeah. And he's like, yeah. Where if you keep them in that world where, oh yeah, you're great, you're perfect. When he gets older, reality will kick in. No, you're not.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So you've got to try and put them in places where they're uncomfortable and watch them grow, just like you do. Yes, exactly. I'm trying to do to myself. Yeah. That's where growth happens, and it's trying to expose your children to everything's not perfect. Yeah. You know what I mean? You've got to make them thick skinned, and you know yourself. School's hard, life's hard. Yeah. Kids around them. Kids are cruel, man. Kids don't give a fuck.
No filter.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And in school, if you can't look after yourself, you have a fucking hard time.
Yes, of course.
And I believe everybody, I don't care who you are or where you're from, at some point in your life when you've been through school, would have had a hard time.
Yeah, of course.
No one goes through school unscathed and stuff like that. And then that program's part of who we are. And then when we go into our adult life, that's your early perception of the world. Yeah. Till you get older, and then you start looking back and go, he was a tit. You start putting it all together in your head. Yeah. But for now, I'm trying to program my kids. And like when you were saying before about affirmations and stuff like that, I tell my kids, when you get a chance, son, you stand in that mirror and you tell yourself you're a good player, you're the best footy player, in the world, you're strong, you're kind, you're handsome. I tell them like loads of little things, and I say, stand there in the mirror and repeat it to yourself, Jared, and keep saying it till you believe it. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And the middle one, who's 6, he's just standing next to him, just like saying, yeah, I'm kind. But the eldest lad, he's sort of like, he's starting to understand what I'm trying to say to him. Yeah. But I believe as we've developed now, where a lot more people, I'm not saying people weren't aware of this in the 90s when I was growing up, 2000s and stuff like that, but it weren't the way it is now. And so now I'm trying to use what I'm learning. Yeah. I'm trying to filter it down to my kids so they can get the jump on life.
Yeah, good lessons.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So that shit I was learning when I was 20, 25, I want them to be learning now yeah. when they're 9. And what will he be like when he's 20? He'll be fucking advanced.
He'll be flying.
Absolutely, yeah. Who are your influences? Who are your idols?
Oh, you mean like, as in like famous people or anybody,
man?
Anyone.
It could be your mum. It could be someone famous. It can be anyone. If I said to you, Kev, who inspires you? Who influences you? Who do you look up to?
Oh, do you know what? Right, what we just said there. My mum and my dad both worked hard. I mean, I remember my mum would be coming home from nights in the Liverpool Women's Hospital, and my dad would be going out, and then vice versa. They would often passing each other because they worked all the time. They worked really hard. So that is all of us, with the 6 of us, and we all work. And I believe that's instilled a decent attitude towards work in us.
Yeah, work ethic.
He had a really good work ethic, because, like I say, my dad's 72, and even though he's in retirement, he does a lot for other people. Like the place I'm based in a place called the Inner Guru, and my dad. When Lewis, the lad who owns the place, was building a second Inaguru, my dad was there doing all the electrics, and even like yesterday he went to fit a sensor in the toilet for the light, and things like that. So he still wants to have his hands in, and if he can help someone, he will. He's a lovely fella.
Because he's got to have purpose. Because as we said, if you've got no purpose, there's no point. And if you don't continue, you don't innovate, you die.
Yes, you do.
So people don't want to slow down, man. They want to just keep going and going and going and going.
Well, even my mum as well. My mum, when she retired, she's become a full-time grandmother, and she's got all 6 of us have got kids now. And my mum spends a lot of time with all of them. You know what I mean? And she's brilliant in that respect. If you ever need anyone to watch
your kids,
my mum's, but yeah, she's more than happy to help out. So
have you got kids yourself, Kev?
Yeah, I've got 3, and my partner I'm with now's got 3. Yeah, so but 2 of mine are older. I've got a 16-year-old lad, a 22-year-old girl, and then I've got my 9-year-old.
So how old are you now?
I'm 42.
Wow.
I'm 43 this year, mate.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
How old do you feel?
I feel much younger. I feel like at least 30. You know.
Do you?
But yeah, because I prefer being this age to being in my mid-20s, because mid-20s is very confusing. You're still like, you know.
Yeah, you're trying to find yourself.
You're trying to find yourself, but it's just, you know, you're full of aggression, you're full of like all these emotions. And then as I got into my 30s, everything started to settle down. And like now I'm in my 40s, like life has got much more meaning to it. And I feel like I'm much more conscious about things that are happening, you know. So I can see more of what's happening, more present with what's happening. So, you know, good age to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very good age.
Saying before about who you are, like the mind shaming, what you're doing, you know, you're working at the inner guru, you've got your own setup there, you're bringing people in. There's loads of techniques you use, isn't it, Kev? You're not just sort of like a one-trick pony where you do one thing. You do loads of different things and, you know, different techniques you use, obviously, to try and bring people on and help them. PTSD is something that I've seen you put up on your page. You mentioned a little bit about, and every time I think of PTSD, I think of the forces. I imagine a lot of people do. Like, you just jump to like a soldier and you think, someone who come. But it's not. It's a lot deeper than that. It can be a normal person off the street suffering with post-traumatic stress disorder. Explain to us what that is and how you can deal with it.
So, post-traumatic stress disorder, a good way to think about trauma would be, at a point of danger, your mind's taking a snapshot of what was happening at the time. So some people's PTSD comes as visual flashbacks. With some people, it could be a smell or, you know, something they see, and it triggers a strong emotional response within them. So what I teach the person how to do is, if it's a visual flashback, then we help them get the mind to interpret that information in a different way. So think about the way you can think about a film. Think about a film with a lot of CGI effects in it. It takes a lot of energy to generate that image. But if you can take the colour and the intensity out, you can bring a lot of relief for the person. So a lot of the time, instead of getting a person to repeat and talk about things, I'll teach them how to collapse it. So you collapse it using a NLP technique called minimalize.
I was coming to NLP in a minute, but you beat me to it.
Unbelievable.
Neuro-linguistic programming.
Yeah, it's being used against people all the time. The new
athletes use it and stuff like that, don't they?
Yeah, athletes use it, but it can get used in negative or positive ways depending on who's using it.
So NLP stands for
neuro, which means
programming.
Neuro means the neurons and how the brain operates. Linguistic means language, so the language patterns we speak to ourselves. And programming means what it says. It's programming. So we've been getting programmed linguistically since we're kids. We take on board what people say about us. We take on board, our mum might have said something cruel when we were little, and we still repeat it at the age of 30. You know, so we take on language all the time. But NLP enables you to learn about the language patterns, so you can unpick negative language patterns that aren't working for you anymore and insert new ones in.
How do you go about doing that?
So make best use of the imagination. So the imagination is the bridge.
Give us an example of NLP, like, because I've seen like people like tapping their hands and shit like that.
That's EFT.
EFT.
That's called emotional freedom tapping. So that's tapping on energy meridians to take the intensity out of an emotion. Whereas NLP is a good way to look at it is making best use of the imagination. Okay. So say, for example, right, I want to help you process stress, right? Yeah. I'd teach you how to make something called a resource, okay? The resource can be made up of any positive memory you've got, or it can be made up of good things in your life. Like, say, for example, do you want to make one?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So we're getting you to use your imagination now. So basically, take a little look around the room, right? And then close your eyes. Bring your hands to your thighs, palms up. Okay, so we're going to use your right hand for the resource. So it's good to think about a group of 5 to 10 people that make you feel happy when you think about them. So, you know, do you want to name 5 to 10 people?
My missus, Carmen, Jared, Ruben, Ivan, they're my little boys.
Yeah.
My mum and my dad.
Okay.
Tom Simpson, one of my coaches.
Yeah.
Friends. Omar Casal.
Okay.
My best friend.
That'll do you. That's enough. That's enough to be going on with for now, okay? And now imagine as if you are holding all these people in your right hand. They've all got a massive smile on their face. They all look really joyful, really happy. And then I want you to put them all in a place. So this place might be somewhere in nature. Where's a good place in nature for you, though you feel peaceful?
On the beach in Palmanova.
Okay. So imagine all these people that make you happy are standing on a beach in Palmanova and you're holding all this in your right hand. Can you see that image in your mind?
I can see it, yeah.
What's the weather like?
It's gorgeous, man. It's blue skies.
Blue skies.
Sunshine.
Okay, let the whole thing become brighter, louder, more colourful, more intense, vibrant, larger than life. And then you make a fist with your right hand, take 3 deep breaths in and out, and it locks that resource into the subconscious to use at any time. Then bring your hands together, palm to palm. You'll feel a gentle release. When you feel that release, take your hands apart and open your eyes again. Okay? So you notice when you open your eyes, the room looks brighter.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything looks sharper.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying before. The outside world's a reflection of the inside world. So we don't see the world as it is, we see the world how we're feeling. And now, to use it for something, so there's 125 so-called negative emotions, okay? We're just going to do general stress. So what I want you to do is bring your hands back to your thighs, close your eyes. Now what I want you to do, I want you to begin to place in your left hand, using your imagination, anything that creates stress in your life, okay?
Yeah.
And at the same time, I'm going to ask you, keep going. I'm going to ask your subconscious to allow the energy from that stress to leave every cell and travel to your left hand. When you feel as if you're holding all that stress in your left hand, say yes.
Yes.
Score that feeling between 1 and 10, with 1 being not too bad and 10 being really bad.
In terms of how much stress that I've got
Yeah,
inside.
the intensity.
It's a good 6.
Make a fist with your right hand. Activate your resource. You're back in your happy place with all those people that make you feel good. Let it become brighter, louder, more colourful, more intense. Bring your hands together. Keep your hands together till you feel the release. After the release, take your hands apart, but keep your eyes closed. Okay, go again. Pour all that stress into your left hand again, using your imagination. Feel the energy from that stress leave every cell to travel to your left hand. When you feel the stress in your left hand again, say yes.
Yes.
The intensity gone down.
Yeah, I've tried to get it the way it was the first time.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you, but I couldn't get that stress to feel the same as it did the first time.
Okay, so what's the intensity gone down to out of 10?
It's a good 4 now.
Okay, make a fist with your right hand, activate your resource. You're back in your happy place with those people that make you feel good. Let it become bright, loud, colourful, intense. Bring your hands together. Keep your hands together till you feel the release. After the release, take your hands apart, but keep your eyes closed. And then one last time, place all that stress into your left hand using your imagination. Feel the energy from the stress leave every cell to travel to your left hand. When you feel the stress in your left hand again, say yes.
I'm laughing because it's getting a lot harder to feel the stress, Kev.
Yes. So what would you say now about it too?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, make a fist with your right hand, activate your resource. You're back in your happy place with all those people that make you feel good. Let it become bright, loud, colourful and intense. Bring your hands together. Keep your hands together till you feel a clear feeling in your forehead. And when that happens, you can take your hands apart and open your eyes again. Okay, nice and bright. Try and become stressed.
I'm not, because it's sort of gonna feel a lot more peaceful.
Yeah. So what we've just done there, right, is when you bring it up to 6, your head feels fuzzy. That's because it's activated the sympathetic nervous system, the fight or flight response. When you take it down to 0, it activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which is rest and digest. Okay, so in fight or flight, your body's breaking itself down to take energy to fight or run away. When you're in rest and digest, your body's in a state of repair. Okay, so I believe, like, one of the reasons why we in our culture, we suffer from many neurodegenerative conditions because we're always stressed. So if you can put your body into a state of repair as much as possible, we don't know how much it can actually repair itself if we spend more time in that state.
What is like an neurodegenerative?
So like dementia or, you know, Alzheimer's or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think we created that ourselves over time? Or?
I think a lot of the conditions that we suffer from are conditions of culture. So they're not present in nature. They're present in culture because of the stream of information and everything going on around us. It creates a lot of stress for the system. So we don't use our fight or flight response anymore to run away from predators. We use it to feel stress about going to the office. It's the same systems, the same circuits. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and some stresses you can't walk away from because they're there in your life, like they're a part of your life. Even the way people say, if it's not serving, you walk away from it. But like, for example, if you've got a business, you love your business, but it does come with elements of stress. You're not going to walk away from it. So you need to learn how to deal with it, don't you? You need to learn how to rationalise it to try and...
Yeah. Like, you need a bit of stress, because if you don't get stressed, say like you don't get worried about paying your bills, are you going to be asked about going to work?
No.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you need a bit to push you in a certain direction, but if you have too much, it becomes obviously overwhelming.
And that's when it's bad for you.
That's when it's bad for you. So this is why, like, you get a little bit of worry over your bills, go and get a job, go and, do something about it. Otherwise, the worry's going to stay and it's going to get bigger. So that's one example of a technique. That's called anchoring. So you're anchoring a positive resource into the mind, and then you can use that any time that you need to take the stress levels down.
I like the anchoring.
Yeah, it's good.
I like that. That was good shit. I've never done that before.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. It's like a direct way, because the good thing about NLP is, like meditation, you set intention and you can release things, but with NLP you can be very direct about what you're going to help a person release.
What's your purpose?
What's my purpose? Make my contribution, I think. So I think we're in a shift in consciousness, and obviously, we can all make our own contributions. So I
believe some of the shit we're doing now, breath work, cold showers or cold water therapy, manifestation, all this shit. If you NLP, what you're teaching me now, 10 years ago, people would be like, he's fucking mad. It's crazy.
Yeah. But do you know how I get around it with people? People will come into me and say, I don't think I believe in all the spiritual stuff. And I said, when did I say anything about anything spiritual? I want you to use your imagination. Do you believe in your imagination? And I'm like, yeah, because they've seen it. They know they've got an imagination. So if we get the person to use their imagination, we haven't made it. We've left it grounded in this reality. We haven't taken it to, some fucking magical, mystical place. We've left it in a place where they can ground into reality. So I think that's obviously it's important sometimes. If you're trying to get someone to take something on board, you don't want to go too into the mystical with some people, because, they don't appreciate it. Because it just can't think about it. If I'd seen me, and I'm the age of 20, right, or 25, let's say, juiced up, tan injections and all this, and I see some spiritual fucking lad doing meditation on the beach, I'm going to think he's a dickhead. Whereas obviously now, because I've experienced things, it gives me an appreciation for it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you can see it in a different light, can't you?
Yeah, but you have to have your own experience of it. So I like people coming in for Reiki and other things who may have been skeptical, because the skepticism goes a lot of the time once you've had a treatment.
There's a couple of other subjects I want to touch on with you. Before we do go, I want to touch on hypnotherapy. I want to touch on Reiki.
Yeah.
I want to touch on Cambo.
Yeah.
Let's start with hypnotherapy.
Yeah. So hypnotherapy is a way to access the person's subconscious. So if you hypnotize someone and you take them through an induction, what you're doing is you're taking the conscious mind out of the way. The conscious mind acts like a filter. Okay, and once you take the filter away, you get access to the subconscious patterns. So you can take a person to any time in their life, any behaviour, and you can help them make the changes at a subconscious level.
And how would you access them places, Kev? How would you hypnotise somebody?
So you go through a series of inductions. It takes around, I'd say you can do fast inductions, but I don't tend to do fast inductions.
Yeah, take your time.
Yeah, it takes me time. So my inductions, I probably go for like 30 minutes minimum of talking the scripts through to help a person's conscious mind switch off. And then once conscious mind switches off, the body gets really, really relaxed, like unbelievably relaxed. There's 4 stages to hypnosis, and you normally do the subconscious work on someone at the 2nd stage, which is really deep. But then there's 2 stages that go even deeper. One's called the Eskdale state and one's called the coma state. So all anaesthetists all over the world, I know a lot of people don't know this, but people who are anaesthetists in the hospital have to know hypnosis, because if someone comes in and they've got like an allergy to the anaesthetic, they will use a hypnotic induction sometimes to put them into a coma state.
Wow.
Okay, so you can have, and in a coma state, you can get operations done on you.
Do you know when you're in a coma state, Kev, you're just fully submerged?
You're just fully gone, fully submerged. You're in really deep and slow
So
brain
say
patterns.
you was to get, say me to that state.
Yeah.
If someone walked in this room now and went, Jack, would I hear them?
Right, so you'd still have an awareness of the room as well. So you'd be really focused inwards, but you still have an awareness of the room.
Before we move on, meditation.
Yeah.
A lot of people have been trying to practice meditation.
Yeah.
But it's guided meditation.
Yeah.
I usually, when I said to you before, you know, when I said about switching off,
Yeah.
going to sleep, shit like that.
Yeah.
Sometimes in the evening time, if I feel like I can't switch off when I get in bed, I'll put a guided meditation on.
Yeah.
I'll lie there and I'll just try and breathe and follow it and get myself into that state where I feel calm and I feel relaxed, and then 9 times out of 10 I'll fall asleep and I'll wake up the next day and the phone will be on the side, and you know I've fell asleep during the end of the meditation because I've tried to get myself that deep where I'm just trying to really, really relax.
Yeah.
But meditation, it's an art, isn't it?
Yes.
To try and sit still for a certain period of time, block the world out, and just be at one with yourself.
Yeah.
And that's why I try and use guided meditation, because I'm nowhere near advanced enough to be able to sort of self-meditate where I can just do it on my own.
Yeah.
Teach me about meditation, Kev. Educate me, tell me about it, teach me about it.
So the meditation I do every day for myself, and the one I teach people, especially when I first meet them, because most people are in the same boat. They can't sit there for any more than a couple of minutes without feeling uncomfortable. Even though meditation looks simple from the outside because they're just sitting there breathing, it's a lot more difficult to sit there with ourselves with the thoughts coming up.
Because your mind reels, don't it? You'll be in that calm place, and then a thought will come up, and you've got to try and get that away, that thought, and get back to just emptiness type of thing.
The protocol I follow with my own meditation is I spend it, so it's a 20-minute meditation. I use the same song every day because then the song will trigger that relaxation response. And then I spend 3 to 4 minutes breathing. So the breathing will be, it's called 2 to 1 breathing. It's where you exhale for twice as long as you inhale. And the purpose of this is because that triggers the parasympathetic nervous system. So on the exhale, so say I inhale for the count of 2, I'll exhale for the count of 4. And on the exhale, I'll feel my body sink because it's triggered that parasympathetic nervous system. So 3 to 4 minutes breathing, and then a body scan. So
breath work's powerful in a Kev. It can bring you down.
Yeah, breath work's unbelievably powerful, but you can
put
use it in different ways.
mind state, can't it?
Yeah, you can use it in different ways as well. So when we were talking
Give
about
me
before,
some examples.
So if I wanted to relax into a meditation, and I was just doing a meditation to process the day-to-day stress, then it'd be gentle. Inhaling and exhaling in and out of the nose. And like I say, 2 to 1 breathing, so lengthening the exhale. Spend about 2, 3, 4 minutes breathing. And then it prepares my body. Okay? And then I do a body scan. So the body scan is looking at different parts of my body, from the crown of my head right down to the tip of my toes, or the tip of my toes right up to the crown of my head. Like
an outer body experience when you're saying looking, are you visualising?
No, you're bringing awareness to it. Just as a result of bringing your awareness to the crown, you're taking your awareness out of here and up to here. When you bring your awareness up to here, you just feel the muscles naturally ease out and relax themselves. And then you take yourself slowly through your own body. You come to your forehead, your temples, the back of your head. You feel the muscles around your eyes relax. You let your eyes become heavy. You feel the facial muscles relax. Let that relaxation move into your jaw. So you're talking down through your own body and letting go of tension in the different parts.
Peaceful, innit?
It's lovely. And then I do something called center scan. So you've probably heard Joe Dispenza talking about the energy centers in the body. Okay, there's 7 points on the body where the best way to think about it is this is where a lot of stress accumulates. Okay, obviously they're much more technical than that, but for simplistic terms, we store stress in 7 main areas in the body.
What are them areas?
So they're called chakras, which means wheel of light. Okay, but these are psychological centers where the instincts live. So the survival instinct lives in at the base of the spine. The reproductive instinct lives in the lower abdomen. The hunger instinct lives in the solar plexus. The love instinct lives in the chest. Yes, and then the instinct to communicate lives in the throat. The instinct to think lives in the brow. And the instinct to connect to something higher than yourself or something transcendent lives in the crown. But what happens is we're not taught how to develop the emotional centers in our culture. We're taught how to develop the higher centers. But this is like
colours, all like 3, 6, 9 and all that, innit? So, like numbers and stuff like that.
Yeah, because in our culture, because we're taught the rational centers, this is like building a house by putting a roof on first. Where it should be development. You should build from the foundation. Yeah, so strong foundation might be make sure your survival instinct, make sure your basic needs are taken care of. So it might be shelter, might be water, food, and your basic needs are okay. And then your next one up might be your relationship needs are taken care of. So, you're having a decent relationship with your missus. You're not having beef all the time. And then the next instinct might be, so the solar plexus, it's home to the hunger instinct, but also our relationship to the rest of the group. If you haven't got enough energy coming into your solar plexus, you end up with low self-esteem and sit low in a hierarchy. Whereas if you've got too much energy coming to the solar plexus, you end up egotistical. You end up becoming like a politician, and you become that inflated with your own sense of self-importance. You float off. You're not asked what people think about you. But obviously, we were talking before about balance. You want balance in all these senses. So balance in the solar plexus would be, you don't look down at anyone. It doesn't matter if someone's homeless. It doesn't matter if someone's poor. It doesn't matter. You're still a person. But then a politician, you're not going to put them on a pedestal, because I don't believe in all that. You know what I mean? So that's just another fella in a suit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's the same as me and you.
He's the same as me and you, but he's deluded to think that he's in charge of us. You know, that the hierarchy itself is an illusion.
He's created that person who he wanted to be.
Yes. Yeah, but it still takes our belief in it for it to have power.
That's why people wear suits, isn't it?
That's why people wear
power
suits.
Power dressing.
Yes.
If he come in, he's in a suit, well, he must be important.
Yes, always. Or he's going to court.
If you're from where we're from, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So I'll get people to inhale light through these sensors the light removes any sort of dense energies that might be in them. And then you take it all the way to the crown, and then I get them to use a mantra. So the mantra is a great thing to use for a beginner.
So what is a mantra, Kev? Can we make a mantra up, or is it come from somewhere?
No, a person can make a mantra up.
So give us an example of a mantra.
So I use a mantra, Hareem, right? It's H-R-E-E-M. And the reason I use this is because this comes from India. And the purpose of it is you're meant to receive blessings from Shiva and Shakti at the same time, which to me means bringing balance between the emotional and the rational part of my mind.
Who are Shiva and Shakti, or what is Shiva and Shakti?
Shiva and Shakti are symbolic representations of the thinking mind and the feeling mind.
Duality again. So Shakti would be the feminine, which is the emotional part of the mind, and Shiva would be the masculine. Yeah. And more duality, like me and you, we're lads, but we still got feminine parts within us that we need to connect to be whole. But it's as you said to me before, when you said the creative side is feminine, I thought, what's he on about? And then I realised it hit me. I thought, obviously, creation of life, everything creative is feminine. Yes. That's where it comes from. So I must have a massive feminine side, because I've got loads of creativity going on inside of me, and I'm trying to express it.
Yeah, to put it into structure, you need a masculine.
Yeah.
Because two other opposites are nature and culture. Nature's feminine, culture's masculine. So structure itself is masculine by nature. Oh. Even like this room that we're in now, so see the straight lines? They're masculine. Do you know any curves that you've got in here? They're feminine. So these forces are in everything around us as well.
So back to Hareem.
Yeah, so Hareem, it brings balance. So this really helps me get heart-centered. And like I say, you spend a lot of time where you're in the room, you're in your body, but then your awareness seems to flit in other places. I always get little miniature visions and dreams, and I understand now that that's the mantra itself is processing things for me. And then that's really good for, your day-to-day stresses.
So what would a mantra be, Kev? So like when you're saying to me, Hareem, what, do you repeat these words over and over and over?
For this particular one, I just let Hareem repeat in my mind.
So you're just going Hareem, Hareem.
My mind's repeating Hareem, and then if a thought comes into my mind, I bring it back to Hareem. Because that helps it acts as a focus. So if you attach to a thought and you attach to it, you bring it to life. But if you just let the emotion, their thought pass, then you haven't attached to it and made it into anything bigger. So if you assume that when a thought comes into your mind, you come back to Hareem, you're not giving life to the thought, you're just letting it pass.
Back to what I was saying about thoughts without feelings.
Yes, exactly. So, but the mantra acts as a focal point. But like I say, that's one example of a meditation. You could use a candle for the same purpose.
If we're feeling in a certain way, Kev, that can only be produced through thought.
Yes, of course.
So if you feel stressed today, well then you must be thinking in a stressful manner, yeah? Am I right there?
Yeah, there's something happening around you that's creating that stress, but that stress is trying to push you and give you the energy to go in a particular direction.
But there's a thought process behind that, and if you can change your thought process, then you're not giving any energy to the thought that you're having, and you're not giving it energy, then it won't create a feeling.
Yes. But obviously this is easier said than done for most of us.
Yeah, because you've got to try and get deep back to the...
Yes. Yeah, we've got to try to take the energy out. A lot of the time we take the energy out by understanding what is this thought trying to teach me, and then that's a lot of the time when we can take the energy out of it.
So if I was to do the mantra Hareem, right, what would I do? Sit in a room on my own in a peaceful place?
Yes.
And what? Repeat Hareem, Hareem, Hareem in my mind.
So prepare the mind and the body first. Do the breathing first, then the body scan, then the scan through the senses to release any energies that's in them, and then let the mantra go, and it'll take you to all sorts of beautiful places.
So when I'm sitting there repeating Hareem, Hareem, Hareem in my mind, where am I going? Like, give me an example of where you've been before. Explain it to me. So, what if fucking doing to me? Yeah.
So it's processing stuff coming up from the unconscious. So there might be. I always use this particular meditation for day to day. So this isn't to deal with heavier shit. This is to deal with like the day-to-day stresses.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's processing lighter events rather than any heavy events. Heavier events that's when you bring in a lot of intense breath work. Because then the more you work hard with the breath work, the deeper you can get into your trauma. Okay? But with the breath work, if you go 20, 30, 40 minutes with an accelerated breath work, you can go to some deep places within yourself.
Wow, yeah.
A lot of the time, when you get to process through your own stuff, a lot of the time on the other side of that, you'll find archetypal stuff. So you get into visual experiences, archetypal experiences, what's called transpersonal experiences. So they're not personal, they're transpersonal, which means, you might connect to archetypes from another culture. There's all sorts going on within your mind. So
that's where we go back full circle to what we were saying at the start of the podcast, where a lot of people are searching externally for the internal.
Yeah.
If you're searching internally, it's going to change your external, isn't it?
It is.
So that void, that hole, that gap we've been trying to fill.
Yeah.
You're filling it inside. A lot of people are searching outside. Yeah. It's inside where we need to be searching, isn't it?
Of course.
Moving on to Reiki.
Yeah.
Reiki is one of your main practices, am I right?
It is, yeah. I teach, I do sessions for people, but I also teach it.
Yeah, because you teach students to become teachers, don't you?
Yes.
You basically run a class where people can actually learn the procedure of how to perform Reiki and how to obviously help others and they're taking that away.
Yeah.
So Reiki is like something which is a big part of what you do.
Yeah.
Explain Reiki to us. What is it? How does it help us? What is Reiki?
Well, the word Rei means universally or spiritually guarded, and Ki means life force energy. So like the same way Ki and Chi are the same thing. Yeah. And it's a way to direct this energy to certain parts of a person's body. But it's another thing similar to the mantra, similar to a lot of these practices. It's an intelligence. So the energy itself is intelligent and it works with the person's system.
So Reiki, so Ki is similar to Chi.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing.
Right.
It's just Chi is the Chinese culture's representation of the energy, and Ki is the Japanese culture's representation of the energy.
Okay.
In our culture, it'd be called the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same thing. It's talking about the same thing all the time. And what it is it's an intelligence, and it works with the person's system to bring healing on a physical, mental and emotional level.
So it's deep shit.
It's very deep, and it's one of the greatest things. It's one of the best things I ever learned, because like I say, I went and got off this old woman, and like, I'd call her an old woman, but she's brilliant. So I've actually learned a lot of things off this lady, Pauline. She's absolutely brilliant. So, you know, we judge as soon as we walk into a place.
Judging books by covers.
Always, mate. It was the first time I met her, but then after, obviously,
after
my
one
first treatment,
session, you were like, wow.
I was very impressed. And then after going to learn from her as well, I was very impressed with what she taught me.
How can it make you feel?
Makes you feel brand new. You know, you can give yourself a little reset.
So if I was to come into you and you were to perform Reiki on me and we done a session together, what would it consist of? Would you lie me down on a bed? What's the score?
Oh, so I normally do like a little 5-minute consultation. So when you're giving the consultation, you're helping the person bring it to awareness what they need to look at. Okay. Yeah. Then I'd lie them down. I do an induction. So I spend about 10 minutes talking to the person to talk them down into a relaxed mind state. Yeah. And then I'm working over the energy center we were talking about before. If you connect to Reiki and you just like put your hand, even now, if you do this, do you want to see how to make a chi ball? That's right? Cool. So try to imagine you're focusing all your energy into the palms of your hands, rub them together. Keep rubbing, get all that energy there, focus it all there.
Yeah.
And then bring your hands away like this. And what you're looking for is a gentle, subtle magnetic push.
Yeah.
Yeah, can you feel that?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the chi, that's the key. So what happens as you do the Reiki attunements, you're making that more powerful, more refined. Okay, and then you're directing that energy to where the person needs it most. But when a person comes in for a Reiki treatment or any treatment, see, all healing is self-healing, and it's based on the person's intention to heal. So if I do Reiki on someone who's not really up for it, not really ready, well, their system's not ready for it, so it's
you're wasting your time.
Yes, and they won't get where they won't get where they need to be. But if someone phones me up
and wants it,
if they booked a session, a lot of the time they come in and whatever they were dealing with is already at the surface.
Do you love a client who's like, they fucking want to develop, they want to change, and
yes.
Is it one of them situations where if they're coming to you and they're like, they say they want to change, or they say they want to unearth these things or whatever, but they're not ready to. Yeah. They're looking for an answer, but they're not ready to get the answers. Is that become difficult for you, then, Kev, to try and work with the person, or it just means that you've got to break them down slower and
it's like I say, it always depends on the individual, but most people who've come have got a willingness to change and to learn.
Is it something that needs to be practiced over and over, Reiki? Like, you come in, you have one session, have you got to keep on top of it?
You're better getting more than one, because realistically these patterns are taking years to put in place. You can't just expect to get rid of them in an hour.
Yeah, so say if you were to have 3 sessions, 4 sessions, 5 sessions, would it go? Or is it something like where you're going to get a massage, you get a massage, it doesn't last forever, it makes you feel good for a bit, doesn't it?
There you go.
Is it similar with Reiki? You've got to keep coming back.
It's similar with any practice. You're going to get better with consistent practice in anything. Any discipline, it's repetition. Always consistent. It's always repetition and consistent practice. You're always going to get bigger improvements.
Okay. Kambo.
Oh, Kambo's superb, mate. So this is the secretions from the giant monkey frog, which is a frog from the Amazon. And it's an arboreal frog, which means it doesn't live in the water at all, it lives in trees. So during the dry season in the Amazon, what this frog does, it secretes the secretion from its glands and rubs it all over its skin to act as like a sunblock. And tribes, like thousands of years ago, have figured out that if they take this secretion off the skin and put it onto burns on a person's skin, it absorbs into the lymphatic system to put them through a process. But the tribes use it for initiations, to turn a boy into a man. They use it for fertility. They use it for before they go out hunting, because it removes fear. Okay, so do you know, if me and you go hunting, we're full of stress and anxiety, we won't catch fuck all, because we'll stink of fear. So a good idea for the tribes people is if they want to clear their endocrine system before they go hunting, so they more chance of having a successful hunt. Okay, so then if we then bring it over here, if I get you to set an intention, which would be, what do you want to let go of today, And it might be like, you know, it could be feelings of not feeling good enough. Well, I get you to think about them feelings, bring them into your awareness, and then give you Cambo. And the Cambo gives you a reset on that particular issue.
When you say a reset, what, like the issue went there?
Right, so often it's as if the issue wasn't there at all. That's often how it can be, because it's, with a lot of these practices, the healing effect can be so effective. It can be so like profound that you can become a completely different person. Oh. You know?
So it's life altering?
It's life altering, yeah. And then but it's another one, it's down to the person's intention.
How is this performed? When you say, you give me Cambo.
Yeah. So
it's rough stuff, innit?
It's rough. So, for example, you might come in, right, and we have a little chat. I'll take you through the safety part about, you know, going to the toilet, some of the risks involved and things like that, right? And then once we've gone through all that procedure, then we use all the medicines with the Cambo. One's called Sananga, which is an eye medicine, and it stings like fuck. It goes into your eyes, but what this does is it prepares your nervous system to let go. So a lot of the things that we hold on to, it's because the nervous system doesn't want to let go of it. It's familiar. So the Sananga helps the nervous system get ready to let go. And it's like eye drops. You put it in a person's eye, and it's like, you know, you got shampoo in your eyes in the shower before.
Yeah.
Imagine that times 10. But then that's for 2 minutes, but then it takes you into a lovely process. So the process it takes you into, so say like I got you to bring up, you know, you might have a deep sadness, right? And you want to let go of it. Or you feel that sadness in your heart. By the time you've had the Sananga, all the heaviness out your chest is gone, and your nervous system already feels relaxed. You already feel ready for the Cambo. And then it's, you have to drink 3 litres of water. Well, you drink 1.5 litres of water before the treatment, and then up to 1.5 litres during the treatment. So this is to make the purge much easier, okay? Because the purge can be uncomfortable with water. The Western people aren't prepared to have that purge without water. So it's 1.5 litres and then up to 1.5 litres during the treatment. So you drink the first 1.5 litres of water, and in that time, I'll put 5 small burns on the person's skin. It's a joss stick without any scent and without any wood, and it leaves like these little burns about this big called gates. Okay, you then give them a test point.
So when you're burning these people,
yeah, of course. So this is from 4 treatments this year. So we've done 3 in January. And then I've done 1. Yeah, so the last one, I've done 13 points of medicine. And this is like, obviously, if I'm intending to let go of things, I found it's a really good tool to work with.
Okay. So you'll burn my skin, say, if you were doing it on me. Yeah. How many times? 5? Did you
5 times is the average for the first treatment.
So, see the way that when I looked at your arm then, they were all directly in a line.
Yes.
So you put them marks in a line. Would they be on me? On me in a forearm, or would it be?
No, so with a person, I'm doing it on. Traditionally, with a man, it's the left shoulder, and with a woman, it's the right ankle. But sometimes people request it in particular areas. Okay. So I've got people who've requested to have it on the spine and on the back of the neck and on the chest and things like that.
So you burn me 5 times with a joss stick on the left for the layman.
Yes.
On the left shoulder.
On your left
for
shoulder,
the man, right ankle for the woman.
Yeah.
So for me, it'd be on the left shoulder. Yeah. Then what?
Then I give you a test point, which is 1 point of medicine. I want to see your tolerance. I want to make sure that I'm not going to give you too much or too little. I want to find this perfect point. Okay. So the test points will tell me that. And like I say, the average with people I've done treatments on has been 5 points.
So you'll actually now give me Cambo.
Yes.
So that Cambo is what we were talking about off the frog.
Yeah.
And that's in a medicine form now. It's in a liquid form, is it?
No, it comes over on little wooden pallets. Right, the lads I work with, Lewis, he brings them all over from the Amazon on little wooden pallets, dried, and then we put a bit of water on to bring the Cambo back to life, enough for that treatment.
Yeah, okay.
And then you make it into little pellets, little balls about this big. And the first one, for
is
like
it firm or moist now?
It's quite moist. It's quite moist. Yeah, you need to keep a bit of liquid on it to help it, get into the system.
So the burn you've created now,
yeah,
you're now going to enter the Cambo into that burn.
Yeah, because it gives access to the lymphatic system.
Okay.
So the lymphatic system is obviously the system that rids the body of toxins. So when it gets into the lymphatic system, it can get to every part of the body. And then what will happen is you'll have visible like clues to tell me what the Cambo's doing at the time. So people go red in the face. People can get slight swellings, and they'll feel pressure in different parts of the body. They could start sweating.
Is it uncomfortable, Kev?
it's uncomfortable. It can be very uncomfortable at certain points.
Right, okay.
What I've noticed about Cambo as well, if someone comes in and that person's lovely and humble, it's normally works with them and it's very pleasant. If someone's walked in and they might be a bit inflated, it will wipe the floor with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it doesn't like ego. And do you know what, right? I've gone in with Cambo with ego before and it's wiped the floor with me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I deserved it and needed it. You know what I mean? And I made up that it's done it.
So, once you've sort of got this test point, you go, right, okay, his tolerance is at such a level. You'll decide how much of this medicine you're going to give to me.
Yeah.
Then you'll continue and you give me the other 4
Yes.
points of Cambo now. Bang, bang, bang.
Yeah.
During this process, am I being sick?
So the purge comes in different ways. It's mainly being sick, so you're vomiting the water
when
into
you
the bucket.
say the purge, are we purging the system?
Yes,
the
you're purging the system.
Human being system.
You're purging physical toxins out the system.
And when them physical toxins come out, supposedly as well, a lot of emotional toxins.
A lot of emotions come out with it. I'll give an example of a treatment that I done with Lewis. Right, so Lewis took me through a treatment, and partway through the treatment, I felt a deep sense of sorrow, of sadness. I felt like shit. Right, and we're looking around the room, and everything in the room looks dead and lifeless and grey. Right, I closed my eyes, I purged into the bucket, I opened my eyes, and everything looks bright and technicolor, and there's this heaviness in the purge in the bucket.
And what was the purge? Vomit?
Yes, yeah, that was purged into the bucket. Yeah.
So, and then now, see that purge, would that come between the 5 points, or would that come at the end of the 5 points?
It's all different.
Depends.
It's all different. So say like a textbook treatment would be a person has 4 or 5 pages into the bucket and then you have a little rest. That's a perfect treatment, but obviously not all treatments are straightforward like that.
And then
some
when
of them
you
it's a
say
bit more
you have a
dramatic.
little rest,
Yeah.
Is it over then?
Yes, it's over. After the rest, I always let them have a sleep for 20 to 30 minutes. It's the loveliest sleep of your life.
Will you be physically asleep, yeah?
Yeah, people they drift away, but they're like babies. And plus, one thing you notice with it as well is the colour of a person, like the energy around them looks different.
Does the medicine feel like you're on drugs, Kev? When you're on it, do you feel like, whoa, fucking off your sake here, or not?
No, I'll be honest, it's like nothing else you can compare it to. Because it's not psychedelic, you don't have any hallucinations, it's all physical. And it's like, it can feel really uncomfortable. Like, I'll be honest with you, I like it, I like the feeling, because it feels at first like mildly euphoric, and then it builds up into it's uncomfortable. But it's worth that discomfort to let these things out my body.
So so now you've had the purge, you've had some water, now you're asleep, and then you wake up. When you wake up, how do you feel?
Brand new.
Brand new.
Dead clear in the air. Yeah, exactly.
Fucking brand new.
Dead clear in the air, dead clear in the mind, but dead clear in the body. And a lot of people, so there's Cambo's made up of peptides. And these peptides all do different things. There's one peptide that initiates the purge by smoothing the muscles in the digestive system. There's 3 of them that are painkillers, and they act on opioid receptors in the body. So sometimes someone can come in for Cambo for like a trauma, and they can walk out and they'll be like, my back pain's gone. You know, so it's very powerful. It's very powerful.
How long does the feeling last for afterwards?
The clarity.
Yeah, the goodness, the feel.
It depends on the person. So this is the same with any sort of medicine that people take. Integration is more important than the ceremony itself. What this means is, if that person can use that clarity and that clear mind to put new habits in place, then they'll get more value from anything they put themselves into. But if they do not put any new habits in place,
you're wasting your time.
Further down the line, the patterns are going to come back. And you sometimes get, let's call them ceremony hoppers, where people just go from ceremony to ceremony to ceremony and never ever do work in between.
Talking about like what I was saying about at the start with the external, you just keep searching for something, you're getting something else, and that's not filling the void, and that's not filling the void. Well, these people are searching internally because they're not doing the right work and they don't know how to navigate their way through this particular procedure before it's even finished, type of thing, or they haven't done the right works within themselves afterwards. They're now jumping onto another form of self-healing or medicine or whatever, and it's just going to be continuous. They're never going to reap the full rewards or get the full value
they
from
have to
what they're
work
doing.
with it. So it's not going to do all the work for us. We still have to work with it. We still have to put the effort in, because it's not just like we can go and take a magic pill and it solves all our problems. It doesn't work like that.
Happen,
No. So, but what it'll do is it'll give you clarity to put new things in place.
What are your thoughts on psychedelics?
So psychedelics have got the place as well, but obviously it's the same. It's how we apply them.
Mushrooms,
brilliant, unbelievable teachers. But same again, we've got to appreciate and respect them. If we don't appreciate and respect them, then they can run havoc in anyone's life.
I've never took mushrooms. Kev, walk me through what the experience is like if you take mushrooms.
Unbelievable. It depends on what you get from it, and it depends on the strain. It depends on how you're feeling at the time. Like a good example of one of the ones I've done is I've done a heroic dose, which was like way over 5 grams, but I didn't even try them. I'd just been out picking with my mate, and I just got a handful in a blender with a mango, nailed it, and I had 10 hours of hell. Right, and I was in a heavy place, and it was like it was like a fucking nightmare. But
did you think you were gonna die?
Yeah.
When you say hell, what, like something General Scarf, something out of Pink Floyd? It's all fucking madness going on in your mind. So what's the score?
I was getting a lot of visuals, but I get mainly feelings. So the feelings running through my body were so uncomfortable and so like, intense. Yeah, it was, the intensity was unbelievable. And like I say, 10 hours it lasted on that one.
And what, do you feel like you were going to fucking die, Kev?
3 times I fucking think I did die. yeah, but I understand now that was my sense of self-dying. Because what's happened is afterwards, it's taken me 5 months to integrate that experience. So that, what I mean by that is, there was a lot of things about who I thought I was that were then gone. And I didn't have any replacement for them yet.
So after, we'll talk about in a minute, sort of a good trip, a good thing, but after the mushrooms, after the trip, after the experience, after that psychedelic experience, do you feel differently?
You feel different, yeah.
Permanently?
Yes. Well, from the things I let go of, I feel permanently different from that particular one, because a great example of one of the things I let go of is I used to like football. I used to watch football. I used to be a Liverpool fan. And after the mushrooms, I didn't like football anymore. It's gone. And now I understand that the subconscious program that I used to interact at the footy with, gone. And I went to a match with a friend of mine, right? And I was sat there and I was thinking, like, I got to the thought, I was like, imagine this energy put into something useful. It'll change the world. Like, imagine the energy in Anfield in the car put into something in a positive direction for everyone. Imagine the changes that could be done. Because I mean, I still appreciate the place, and I still appreciate like the magic of football and what it can do. I still appreciate it, but I'm not the same over it anymore as I was.
Why do you think you let go of it?
I think that was just a part of me that needs to let go, because I needed that energy to focus in a different direction.
Somewhere else.
Yeah, because if I'm watching the footy, I might not be reading this book.
Some people say though, don't they? Like, it is life altering. Mushrooms, like, it can change. Like they say, it with anxiety, it can with depression and stuff like that.
It can. I know. Like the majority of people I know have had an unbelievably positive experiences during the mushrooms, and then also afterwards. Like reset depression, reset anxiety, help them deal with all sorts of like traumas that they may have built up in the subconscious.
It's powerful shit, isn't it?
Very powerful shit. The main one I used to use is DMT.
That's what I was going to come to, Mike Tyson and stuff like that, say about DMT, and that said, like, changed the world perception, like, forever. DMT, walk us through it.
So it's dimethyltryptamine, so it's the most powerful psychedelic on the planet. And the form that we used to get it in was it come as crystals, right? A little bag of crystals, about a fucking gram of crystals, and that'd send about 30 to 40 people to this fucking other realm. And then but I've been privileged enough to sit there with like a good few hundred people now, and sort of act as a guide while they've taken themselves. So right,
if you were to take a decent amount of DMT, a comfortable amount, an amount that's not gonna fucking blow your mind, lad. Do you know what I mean? A sensible amount.
Yes.
Of DMT.
You couldn't actually take, you get to a certain point, you couldn't take any more anyway. No, so you could have a microdose that'd give you a little experience and some visuals, right? But you want to break through. And what this means is you leave your physical body and you go fucking somewhere else. You know what I mean? And for you do go somewhere else. It's not like, you know, oh, that's just something happening in your mind. It's like, no, that's more real than you.
Right, hang on a minute, because I watched this like clip and I can't remember who it was, but he was saying basically they'd done like certain tests in America where they were putting testing out there with using DMT, and he was saying
Rick Strausman.
Yeah, and he was saying like people were experienced in the same things, and he was saying he thinks there's actually another fucking place, lad, another realm, because they were giving them just the right amount of dosage to keep them in there, and he was saying like it's supposed to be short, like 15 minutes, but he was trying to keep it where it like keep perpetuating them with it so it lasted an hour so they'd stay there longer and stuff like that. And the people were coming back saying
same thing,
like, you seen what I seen?
Yes,
wow, I seen fucking blah blah. And then he was saying like there's no way they're all seeing that just by chance.
And a lot of these people before they went in were skeptics.
So tell me about DMT. How would you take it?
So you vape it. So you use either a bong or a glass pipe or something like that.
So you've had a whiff of it.
Yeah.
Is you need to smoke it like you'd have a few whiffs? Is it one whiff? What's the score, lad?
Normally with good DMT, it's 3 to 4.
So
3 to 4 big inhales, and you are disappearing out your body.
So if me and you were to take DMT now, and we had 3 to 4 good inhales each, when you have it, is it like what, bang, you're in another fucking planet?
The person's physical body is just like this, like they're in hypnosis. But then obviously when they come back, they got this big cheesy grin on the face, and they're like, wow.
How long have they been there for in physical time?
Normally, right, the shortest ones I've seen have been a couple of minutes. The longest one I've ever seen was 45 minutes, but that looked like an exorcism.
And was you thinking shit?
No, it was proper, like really entertaining to see and see how it worked.
Lad, so right, during this bit, so in the physical time, say if me and you took DMT now, or you're watching me, I have a few whiffs, physically 10 minutes, my body just fucking there, and I'm not conscious to the world for 10 minutes. During this 10 minutes, I'm having this psychedelic trip. How long could that feel to me, Kev? 10 minutes? Could 10 minutes feel like fucking a day, a lifetime, an hour, or does it feel like 10 minutes?
No, so it's all different with different people. Some people it seems really quick. Some people it seems like they were there for ages. It all depends on the individual. Yeah, it depends on the individual a lot of the time.
Give me an example of what you're seeing when you're there.
So entities, archetypal spirits. So a lot of people, I've had people go to Egypt. I've seen people come back and they're talking about Ganesha and they've just seen the Buddha. One of my mates, right? No, we were talking about my mate Jono before.
Yeah.
Right, so he went, right, and before he'd gone, right, the last time he'd been in, he'd seen this little devil head that sort of freaked him out a little bit, right? And he said to me before he went, he said, do you know if I see that devil head, what shall I do? I said, do you know if someone was giving you shit in the pub, what would you do? He said, I'd fucking tell him to fuck off. Do the same with him. So after he threw his DMT trip, he's about 5 minutes in, and he heard him go, and you can fuck off for starters, right? And when he come back, I said, so what happened, dude? He said, he said, that little devil that came in again. He said, as soon as I told him to fuck off, he fucked off. The sky turned into a Buddha and wrapped its arm around me and said I'm a good person.
Wow. So yeah, it's just a different realm.
Yeah, different realm.
Shit.
Yeah, but me and John went for a period of time where we were bringing loads of people to just, you got to try this. You can have a go with this. And we had loads of people, and loads of these people made massive changes in their life afterwards.
Yeah, because after you'd experienced it, you felt like the need to share it.
Yeah. So I think like that sort of experience can change us because it shows us something beyond this physical reality. It shows us, I think once you have an experience of an intelligence beyond your own, it makes it, it changes everything, and you can't go back. Yeah, you can't go back to what you used to be.
Your perception on life's now different.
Yeah, there's much different.
Let's talk about what services you're now offering at the moment as the mind shaman out of the guru where you are now.
Okay, so
what have you got?
So I do the one-to-one coaching sessions. I do them as 4-week packages. I do individual sessions, but obviously you get more if you do over 4 weeks because you can hit different points of a person's subconscious patterns. I teach a meditation course each month. It's meditation and breathwork. It's that meditation technique that we were talking about earlier. also deeper breath work to get a little bit deeper into the person's system. I do a Reiki level 1 course each month. I do Reiki level 2, and then I teach Reiki Master 1-to-1.
How can people get in touch with you, Kev?
I'm on Instagram as the Mind Shaman, and then
The Mind Shaman 1111, innit?
yes, yeah, it's much easier to get me on the Instagram than anything else.
So kick into you on your Insta.
Yes.
If you had a message out there for somebody who's in a bit of a dark place wanting to help themselves, what would it be?
So the opposite to what you're going through is within you as well. And all the everything that you need, all the resources that you need are all within yourself. You just have to believe that you can get to them.
And if you had a message out there for anybody who weren't necessarily in a place of healing or needing help, but they wanted to develop themselves, so they wanted to bring themselves on, what would that message be?
Start with guided meditation on the internet.
Yeah.
Because what's going to happen is it's better if a person gets an experience of something to convince them. You know, you're always convinced by something you experience yourself.
Is there any shout-outs that you'd like to do to anybody who's helped you along the way? Anybody or any certain businesses, anyone you work with, anyone around you, anyone you'd like to do a shout-out to before we go?
Do you know what? It's probably a good idea to do a shout-out for the Inner Guru, because Lewis, the lad who owns the place, he's a good lad himself, and he does a lot of good work for other people, but he's also the lad who trains people to use Cambo. And the centre itself, there's so many different events go on there.
Whereabouts is the Inner Guru?
It's on Walton Road, so it's by the halfway house on Walton Road.
So it's by the halfway house on Walton Road. Yeah. What are the opening times?
So most things are appointment, but it's got a website, so they can go onto the website and have a look for events that are on.
And is it different people who are working out of the Inner Guru? So there'll be different classes, different sessions, different people you can work with?
Yeah, there's all sorts of different men and women doing all sorts of different things, workshops, one-to-ones. I work next door to a lovely massage therapist called Dasha, and Lewis himself does his treatments from the Inner Guru.
So you can get an array of treatments whilst you're there.
There's all sorts happening there. And then there's quite a lot of people. There's the girl called Sammy who does breath work. There's a couple called Paul and Carly who do something called Pack Mentality. Yeah. So they're doing like one-to-ones and they're doing group work. So there's loads of different things that people could sort of have a look at if they want to try something. There's loads on offer.
Get on it, people. The Inner Guru, Walton Road. Or you can get on the website and get in touch with them. Kev, I want to say thanks very much for coming on. It's been eye-opening. It's been a good
I
experience.
enjoyed that. Thank you very much, sir.
It's been an education as well for me. I've learned from you.
Yeah.
So it hasn't just been 2 hours of me talking rubbish. I've really enjoyed it. So I just want to say thanks very much for coming on, mate. No problem. Guys, thanks very much for watching. If you'd like to subscribe to our YouTube channel, it helps us massively. Facebook, Insta, give us a little like or a follow. And until next time, peace out.